post-pandemic environment and schools that can't afford after-school programs. My insights, friends...
First off, I just want to reiterate basically what everyone's been saying, that we need to be investing into the community, and especially in the youth, and especially that's OCYS. This is about this. It doesn't take in that much money. It's not that much of a burden on them. There's going to be problems nationally with this. And to quote our chief of police, he said, "It is a very simple situation, but you have to understand when we were looking at this piece of technology, it was before Flock was recognized nationally as a vendor of concern." So this is the chief of police saying that Flock is a technology that is recognized nationally as a concern to the public. So we need to take the chief seriously and act now before it becomes a bigger problem. Thank you.
Michael Hayes.
All right, I'm just trying to say this real quick. Significant new revenues, those are going to come from innovative, creative economy. Am I right? That's right. And so the future is that juice for that economy comes from innovators, creators. Where that's grown, the vine that grows those are these arts organizations out here. The seeds of that are these kids. Those are the seeds. And my question would be, what happens when you turn off the water in a farm? What happens when you stop the growth? They don't come back. So that's all I'm going to say, and I'm also going to add, are you even paying attention to how many cities are privacy and other abuses?
Get off your phone, Todd.
All right, that's the first and last shout out. Let's keep it civil. You're making great points here. Let's keep it going.
Alex, that's it. You can please come forward. You have time ceded to you by Christiane, right? Thank you. 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Alex Bezeka. I'm a theater kid and I live in District 3. I'm a teaching artist with the La Jolla Playhouse, and I also work with multiple institutions with schools around San Diego County. The Playhouse provides programs that bring professional theater expenses to students. Special student matinee performances not only include tickets for students to come to the theater, but also involve pre- and post-show workshops exploring themes and aspects from what they experienced. We were able to exploring themes and aspects from what they experienced. We were able to invite over 1,400 students to attend last session alone. A program that stuck with me. Mentor, we worked with the teachers at the schools to help run student-led musical theater productions. 3 weeks ago, we had our end of the year celebration where over 11 schools got to bring their students to perform at UCSD to celebrate their work. The cheers that they had for each other was deafening. During breaks, the schools would intermingle with each other and talk about how amazing their performance to supplement the costs. Arts, culture, are not luxury, they're a vital public good. Thank you. Sean?
I'll have them raise their hand as well. Greg, Frank, if you can please raise your hand, please proceed. Good Playhouse, as well as a theater artist working with other organizations and schools in San Diego County. It feels absurd to be here tonight, worth funding or not. Because for me as a teaching artist, I get to see firsthand all of the time development. With La Jolla Playhouse, I often travel to San Diego Unified Schools all throughout the county. I've supported educational programming that brings theater into these schools, as well as programming that and representation to our communities and our children.
And I'm a teaching artist at La Jolla Playhouse, alumna from SDSU School of Art and Design, and previously a teaching artist with the Department of Veterans Affairs for 6 years, working with veterans living with PTSD. If these cuts are not across all 9 of your districts last year, Title I schools, military programming directly to our neighborhoods, including mobile musical theater, showing what the different careers are in theater. But I want to talk to you about something even harder to measure. I've watched art give people their confidence. Thank you for that concluding comment. And Julia?
Performances we put on per year, because I see many of you and greet many of you at those concerts. But what you don't see are the most meaningful concerts to me, which are our Music Connects concerts. We go into hospitals, we go into schools, and we go into correctional facilities and bring concerts to people who cannot purchase a ticket.
Nicole Verdes. If you can all please come up to the Yellow Wizard stage. Baruch, please proceed.
Performing at Symphony Hall with students from across San Diego. In the Symphony Ambassador Program, I learned the inner workings of the organization and even spoke at opening night. Each experience stems from the free lessons 8-year-old me attended. They served as a catalyst for a lifetime of musical involvement.
San Diego Symphony. I won't stand here and deny that life is getting more expensive. I commend the council here today. I find the most egregious part of this arts defunding to be the audacity. To attend a concert, art exhibit, play, on the street. The message we choose to set. On behalf of the musicians of the San Diego Symphony.
Beautiful Balboa Park every Sunday. Summers at the Rady Shell that's turned into internships, which is how you, Mayor. Doesn't that sound like a future? Hello, Honorable. My name is Denise. Restore funding to the arts and culture. I am living testimony of the impact of arts and culture programs in this city. My first professional play I saw was at the Old Globe Theater through the free student matinee program. This program provided me access to a world I didn't know existed for people like me. It ignited my passion for creating art as a means to uplift communities like mine. I am now an administrative theater professional at the same department that gave me a chance to see this world now employs me in it. I get to give other students in my city the opportunity to see a world in the future that belongs to them, and I hope we get to continue to do so. While we know this is a tough budget, I implore you to preserve the access and opportunity.
Good evening, council members, Mayor Gloria. Access at the Old Globe, and I am respectfully requesting that you restore funding to arts and culture. Hearing about the proposed cuts nearly $12 million takes me to as difficult budgetary decisions. Moving almost $12 million cannot be the choice. The specific place in our recent history that this brings me to is actually the pandemic, the lockdown. The isolation of the pandemic brought to light how art. Michelle Brown. Mitchell Woodson again. Community.
In the wake of the terrorist attack at ICSD, our community is mourning, traumatized, and demanding real safety. We did not protect the people who were harmed. And more policing after violence has already occurred. Did not protect the people who were harmed. And more policing after violence has already occurred is not the same as preventing violence in the first place. It's opportunity, stability, care, and connection. This budget is a statement of values, and we ask that you invest in
Thank you. Verdes, last call for Nicole Verdes. No Nicole Verdes coming up. Presentation, raise your hand. Mark Claire Snyder. Because they didn't raise him.
And young lives, the city we're all and young lives, the city we're all San Diego we all deserve. And that is why we are here today as members of the Community Budget Alliance, a coalition of San Diegans, of young people, workers, families, community-based organizations, and labor unions who come together every year to fight for our people's budget. Our choices, and we need to stop acting like investing in working people is unaffordable.
I'm a student volunteer with the Senate Center on Policy Initiative. I'm a student volunteer with the Senate Center on Policy Initiatives and Freshman at Lincoln High School. I'm followed by Dino here, who is I'm followed by Dino here, who is a junior going up to senior. We appreciate the partial restorations made in the Maine Preserved Libraries, parks.
Create opportunities and strengthen our neighborhoods. Today we stand here to urge you, the council, and Mayor Gloria, to fully fund libraries, parks, and repairs. Thank you. Now I'll hand it over to Steve.
Hi, I'm CJ Mendoza. I'm an outreach and organizing intern at Youthwell. I'm standing here today to voice that young people's futures deserve to be funded. Other community members here treated as a real citywide priority. OCYS ensures that there's someone in the city who is always looking out for young people, different mediums and opportunities to create. So if we truly care about young people, we cannot continue seeing youth investment as optional.
Diego 350. We envision a city where people are housed, protected, and able to live. Is leaving people behind. Communities in districts 4, 8, and 9 devastating floods. Yet the stormwater department continues to cut while thousands, but also mitigates the effects of climate change. I also urge you to invest in solutions that solve homelessness by addressing root causes. Homelessness is not solved through punishment, and safety does not come by keeping people out of sight. Safety and real solutions come from housing, dignity, and support. We urge you to restore the Neil Good Day Center, reopen downtown public restrooms, and expand shelter options by reallocating the $4.6 million currently spent on criminalizing unhoused residents.
I am a Black Muslim from Southeast San Diego. Being Black, Muslim, and living in Southeast San Diego, like, it wasn't the ALPR with all the money the police department takes from the city budget and all the money being handed over to flock systems, the police should have prevented it. I don't want the police or the mayor using the atrocity that happened to our community for their political gain.
My name is Miguel. I'm a junior at Morris High. In addition to canceling for block contact, while these decisions belong to you and your votes, we urge you to give back to the community that you keep taking from. While admitting mistakes isn't considered professional, it is human, which is something that the diverse people in this room all have in common. Thank you, and I hope what we have shared today has given a better insight on what the city needs. Has given a better insight on what the city needs.
Acquire a job later. I want to pursue a career in technical theater, in directing indoor lighting, which I found a passion for through free programs I've been privileged to have at Trinity Theater Company, which are now at risk of being cut. By decimating arts funding to near nothing, you are restricting access to the arts not only for me, but for other kids across San Diego, for current theater professionals, and for the future of American theater. And you are restricting access for tourists who build our city's revenue by staying for shows, museums, and exhibits. San Diego prides itself on being a strong community, and it's sad to see it turning on itself, knowing that long term, this will hurt the city. This is what happens when important decisions about the working class are made during work hours. We are coming here to urge you that this budget will not work. We are lending you help, so take it now before we have to make the decision of what to cut next year, and you can't fall back on the arts anymore. Thank you for listening.
Sean Boyd. Sean, you have time ceded to you by Kathy Parks. If you can please raise your hand. By Blaze Narcisi. Joe Chun. And Kendon Reed. Thank you so much. You will have 4 minutes. Please proceed.
Council members, Mr. Mayor, it's unfortunate to be back again having the exact same conversation we've had for a month. Mr. Mayor, I find this to be a pathetic excuse of a May revised budget. There is no progress, and it is not fiscally solvent. I have talked time and time again about the economic impacts that this budget will have on this. A little bit about myself. I don't share this often, but I am born and raised District 9. I went to school where I co-founded Trinity Theater with Ken and Reed. Thank you for the minute. We co-founded Trinity Theater Company together as seniors at that high school. We stayed local. We believe that the arts matters in this city. With state, I got my master's at Point Loma Nazarene. I taught for 5 years. I taught English, I taught theater, and I taught student government ASU. This is an embarrassment to them that we, the people, have to continue to hold our elected officials accountable to do what's best for their people. Beyond the economic impacts, there are real lives that are going to be impacted by this decision. I myself am trilingual. I speak English, supports our students, supports our children, and supports our vulnerable adults as well. I'm going to talk about 4 programs that Trinity offers that is very much on the chopping block because the mayor doesn't believe in the arts. The first one is our Storytime program. It's one of our go-to libraries. Rancho Bernardo has a modified program that serves adults with disabilities and special needs. We go in 100 children year-round with 13 staff members. Our other program is the Living Room Readers, which meets once a week and is led not by an artist by trade, but by a licensed clinical social worker who has studied and committed her life to mental health and well-being. These individuals meet weekly, 70, 80 submissions from playwrights across the world. And when we select our 10 plays, those playwrights come and stay in this city. And when we select our 10 plays, those playwrights come and stay in this city in hotels for a week. That's revenue, Mr. Mayor. Do better. Thank you.
Elizabeth Watson. And if I can ask Sarah Anderson, Monica Hernandez, Caitlin Corrigan, Blair Beekman, Inez Nessie, Rudy, and Morley Bauer to all please watch her. I'm an artist and founder at the Adams Avenue Car Wash, and we were real grateful. I worked in response to veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, carrying unimaginable trauma. I volunteered my time, and told me art was one of the only tools they could access on the manage PTSD and traumatic brain injury. Art gives them relief, connection, self-expression, and a reason to imagine a future. To do this work, I rely on contracts with museums like the Timken Museum of Art, which loses $189,000. Thank you for your time.
If you have any comments, we can definitely submit them.
I'm sorry.
If you have them written down, we can pass them around to the council.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Anderson? Sarah Anderson? Monica Hernandez? Thank you for a minute.
I am a resident of the Gunner Park Museum and Cultural Center, and I am a commissioner of the County Cultural Arts Commission, and I have a poem for you. Con respeto a la familia Sanchez. In the year 1970, Coronado Bridge lied a little piece of land. A piece of land that the community of Logan Heights wanted to make into a park. But the city of San Diego said chale, much like the They said, we are going to make a highway patrol station here, man, on April 22nd, 1970. But fast forward to now, the year 2026, May 27, Chicano Poetry Revives. The communities of Logan Heights, San Isidro, Balboa Park, and all the communities in San Diego just want to get together on a Sunday afternoon and celebrate the spirit of life itself through art and culture. But the mayor is saying we're not going to invest in fun, we're not going to invest in the arts today, man.
So the good people of San Diego got together and we organized and we showed up and we are here. We are asking you to fight for us, to fight with us, for the art, for the cultura, for the youth, for the comunidad, for all of us. Restore full restoration to the arts. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Karoji and I live in District 8. I've spent my life in this region. When we expand surveillance and policing while cutting arts, youth services, and public libraries and parks, we undermine the very foundation of community safety that we do. Become exactly who we need to keep us to process grief, justice. Young people must be entrusted with the tools for bringing their hearts and minds to us. They are our partners in making the best future possible. And when we divest from them, we stomp on the very imagination that we need to make a better community and a better world. Thank you.
Thank you. Blair Beekman. After Blair Beekman, we have Ines Nefzi, Rudy Lambaria, Sebastian Ruby, David Gaitner, Marley Bauer, and then Alicia Leon, Sofia Blanco, Michael Venus, and Shayla James.
Hi, Blair Beekman. As Oakland is the only major California city with a larger deficit problem than San Diego, to learn from Oakland's Love Life philosophy and that social budget austerity. I hope San Diego can also really note at this time how everyone in Oakland community dialogue and compromise to find an agreeable middle ground of more responsible community tech use, public safety, and let's hope the sad, fearful events of the Claremont Mesa Islamic Center last Monday can be brought into accountability and given a hug by our ever-continuing hopes of best practices. And from this, I hope Oakland's recent efforts can be a good reminder in how we can all continue our better ideals, better reasoning, best practices, social services, quality of life, and ideas of peace, not war or harm, is how to address our San Diego community issues.
Thank you for that.
And you. Thanks.
Ines?
Art is a human right. My name is Ines. I'm a San Diego resident of District 7, an artist, arts advocate, and independent single mother. I have multiple jobs in the art sector. This is how I sustain my household, my family, and my community. I urge you to follow the lead of the artist. Think creatively, be bold, be courageous, and protect and preserve our humanity. We, the people, demand full restoration of arts and culture, parks, libraries, and youth services. These services are essential, the very heartbeat of San Diego. Our thriving arts community should be celebrated and supported, for it is these services that have put San Diego on the map as America's finest city. The creative economy contributes significantly to the city's revenue on top of servicing tourists, residents, and the people's morale and well-being. What kind of society are we creating when you willfully sponsor our oppressors while simultaneously slashing the very services that sustain our communities? San Diego Art Matters.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Rudy?
My name is Rudy Lombardio, resident of District 3 and business agent with IATSE Local 122, and I stand before you today representing the workers who build, power, and support San Diego's arts and cultural events. The proposed elimination of arts culture funding is not just a budget cut on paper, it's a direct blow to working people, local families, and the economic engine that helps make San Diego thrive. Arts and culture in our city support thousands of jobs, generate $1.8 billion in annual tourism activity, activate neighborhoods across every district, and create opportunities for education, creativity, and connection for our communities. When we invest in the arts, we invest in workers. We invest in local businesses. We invest in the identity of San Diego as a world-class city. I urge you, restore these funds. Stand with the workers, artists, educators, and organizations that make San Diego vibrant. This is not just about preserving grants. This is about protecting jobs, protecting opportunity.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Sebastian? Julie? Sebastian?
Hi, everybody, I'm back. I was here last week, I said the same thing. So, today, with the amount of time that has passed since last time I was up here, I have to say I am incredibly disappointed. How many more speakers do we need for you to listen? How many more rallies do you need to see in the streets? And how much more outcry do you need to hear before you realize how terrible of an idea this is? During the last meeting, and even this one, our glorious mayor decided to spend most of it on his phone. He didn't feel like giving us his attention despite his grand claims it would help us. So I want to ask something of everyone here. If you work in the arts, whether it be on stage or backstage on a canvas or a notepad, if you are creative of any type, please stand up. Ooh, I see a lot more people than I
I'm here as a member of IATSE Local 122. I am not here as a representative of the union. I am here as a committee, as a member of the community. I work right here. And shout out to the kids in my neighborhood from Mountain View that showed up on a weekday. So, we live in a very divisive time where people, our leaders in Washington, are doing things vindictively, meanly, pettily, and I'm going to give you all the benefit of the doubt that that's not what you're doing. I urge you and your budget analysts and your proposals to go back and look at the numbers, because the arts is not charity. The arts makes money. The art makes billions of dollars for the community, for the tax base, for the hotels. It is not charity. So if all of the good work of helping the children isn't going to move the needle for you, then maybe the economic will. You are the guest of honor at our
For that concluding comment, Marley?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marley, and I should start by saying that I'm not a native San Diegan. I'm originally from Sacramento, but I live and work in San Diego because of the arts. In 2021, fresh out of college, I moved here to begin my career in the arts, namely in the theater, and in subsequent years, I've been lucky enough to be a part of this vibrant culture and community in many ways, and been even luckier to meet some of the many incredible people who make San Diego's arts and culture happen. Arts and culture are not incidental to this city, they are this city. People come to visit San Diego for any number of reasons, but the chief reason, the reason that people build lives here, is the city's culture, a culture we have because we've invested in our community. I feel like I'm a significant example of this. Significant is a hard word, sorry, I'm one such example. If we don't value the arts, we don't value San Diego, and we definitely don't value the people who make it what it is. And I realize there are many harsh realities of balancing the budget, but the council has a responsibility to the city and the constituents to both present and future to make the right decision here, and I sincerely hope it will, because right now, it doesn't value San Diego. Thank you.
Alicia Leon?
Good evening, I'm Alicia Leon. I teach at San Diego State University, and I'm speaking on behalf of my students who reside in all districts across the city, who are studying sleepless nights for potential careers in various industries, including the arts, and we seek refuge in many of the resources that are at stake with the proposed budget cuts. I urge you to work towards defending our communities by protecting what is culturally healing for the constituents you serve, the arts. Even within the last 20 years of financial hardship, even through a pandemic, cuts like these have never been made. And when the preliminary budget was released, not one of the reasons listed for why the $118 million deficit exists was the arts. Yet the arts is what you're choosing to defund. It's what you're choosing to take away from my students, from their futures. Please continue working with our community so that a more informed decision can be made, so that a truly balanced and responsible budget that protects our cultural infrastructure and my students can be drafted. Thank you.
Sophia Blanco?
Dear City Council, Mr. Whitburn, Mr. Todd Gloria,
I spoke to you at the first public hearing for this budget, and I speak to you again to tell you to fully restore funding to the arts. Many of you have agreed to restore partial funding, but I am here to tell you that is not enough to pay the thousands of people, including myself, who will lose their jobs as a result. I can cite numbers, but instead, I really ask you to look and listen to everybody who's spoken here today, who will speak, and I ask you for your support for the restoration of our funding. Fund the arts, fight for your communities. We respect you. We are in awe of your jobs and your responsibilities. And I'm here again. I've been here twice already. I've waited at least 4 hours to speak to you. And we are asking, please fund us. Please let us keep our jobs and during these trying times. Thank you.
Michael Venus.
Good evening, council members. This budget treats community care as disposable and police surveillance as untouchable. President Pro Tem Lee on May 6th vowed to protect core services, yet approved budget defunding on essential third spaces. Self-proclaimed Chief Operating Officer Todd Gloria, you are leaving us just $2 per resident on library investments, while miraculously finding millions for flock cameras and ballooning the police budget to over $700 million when terror struck the Islamic Center right across the highway from where I work in District 6. Your cameras did nothing to prevent the loss of 3 American lives. Community bravery did. Abdullah did. Mansour Kaziha did. Nadero Awad did. Prioritizing the all complicit in a fear-mongering surveillance state. Councilmember Foster, you represent my home in District 4. You oppose surveillance, but slash these libraries and facilities that keep our youth engaged. Divest from surveillance.
Thank you for that concluding comment.
Reinvest in art.
Thank you. Shayla, you have time ceded to you. Bless you. Okay. Shayla James is time ceded by Nick Rock. Sarah Wilsey Rolinaska. Oh, okay. You can give it to Kevin. Can you get the speakers up? And Valentina Jaramillo. I think she left as well. Okay.
Good evening, council members. My name is Shayla James, and I'm the director of the San Diego Creative Development Network, CYD. I'm also a musician, teaching artist, and creative entrepreneur. I come to you disappointed, frustrated, and tired by this evening, and by this proposed budget cutting arts, libraries, and parks funding. I'm also, quite frankly, embarrassed to live in a city that would even propose a budget like this. Thank you to the council members who have supported the arts and know the positive impact of arts, culture, and creativity they have on our San Diego communities. And for those of us who live and breathe the arts, we know the power that the art and creativity can do. The arts cultivate healing, belonging, empathy, safety, and promote solidarity across our San Diego communities. We are an ecosystem, and our futures are tied to one another. Eid Mubarak to our sisters and brothers observing the holiday and who may not be able to be here this evening, and for those who are grieving the loss of the 3 lives from last week. I teach music classes and operate Heart Space, a community-focused creative space for artists, educators, practitioners in District 9. I am again the director of Creative Development Network, and we span throughout San Diego County with our partners and members located in Districts 1, 3, 4, 6, and 8. Our partners are at the intersections of arts, culture, education, youth, and social services. Some of our partners include, and I'm going to name them because they are doing the good work out here, they can't be here today. Media Arts Center San Diego, Disco Riot, Audra Project, Fern Street Community Arts, Transcendent, High Stepper San Diego, Iscali, Outside the Lens, A Reason to Survive, just to name a few. Art and creativity are essential to these organizations, but so is youth voice, access to housing, safe academic support, mentorship, services, career pathways. The list goes on. Arts funding does not live alone and is linked to access of libraries, parks and recreation, and Youth and Family Services. This proposed budget does not reflect the needs and the wants of the San Diego community, our youth, guardians, and elders, our most underinvested, underrepresented, underserved, and vulnerable in our community. And I dare say we want a full restoration of arts and culture funding and continued funding for the Office of Child and Youth Success, an office that we fought hard for to come into fruition along with the San Diego Child and Youth Plan. Even amidst the potential dismantling of this OCYS, the office is planning a youth summit for next week, June 3rd. We were literally meeting like 12 hours ago to plan this youth summit. Our youth network is an arts partner, and we are trying to convene at least 150, 200 plus youth for this summit next week. The other partners, again, I'm going to include them. Game Face, Davis Hart,
Thank you for that
Community Center. Please invest in the arts. Our communities
And then if I
are waiting for you.
can ask Desiree Clark Miller to raise your hand. Thank you so much. I do believe these are dukes, but I'm just going to read them into the record. Alex Bezdeka, I believe you already spoke. Alex Bezdeka, with time seated by Christy and Frank. Don't see anybody here. Sean Foote. I also believe Sean Foote is a dupe. A duplicate. Marcella Salgado. If you could please come up to the microphone, Marcella Salgado. After that, we have Teresa Mill, Carrie Catrial, Sarah Large, Ramel Wallace, Danny Arizo. If you can please all come up to the front. And Doug, all of proceed.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm the momager to 2 professional theater kids here in San Diego. Arts funding is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. When our son Danny was struggling in 3rd grade with a speech impediment and anxiety, the San Diego Opera gave him a chance to perform at the Civic Theater. That experience transformed his confidence and sparked a love of creativity that school never could. Since then, the Old Globe, San Diego Musical Theater, and Signet Theater have been safe havens for him, places where he learns empathy and hope even during frightening times. Research shows that communities investing in arts see stronger civic engagement, better mental health, and economic vitality. Cutting arts budgets removes spaces that help children like my son discover their worth. I ask that you please restore full funding to the arts so every child like my child can experience full life-changing power of theater. It is life-saving. Please, Mayor Gloria, please, City Council, restore full funding.
Thank you for the concluding comment. Teresa Mill, are you here? Carrie? Carrie, are you here? Cottriall, Cottriall? No? Sarah Large?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Large. I live in District 7 and I work at District 9 at Moxie Theater. I'm here today to address concerns in the proposed budget regarding public safety. Research indicates that arts-rich this lack of understanding is frankly baffling. If we want safer streets and stronger neighborhoods, then funding arts and culture is smart, responsible public policy decision grounded in evidence. Our community first. Thank you.
That was Sarah Large. Ramel Wallace? Danny Irosa? Irosa? No? Margie? Jesse, you have time ceded to you by Jenny.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Case. We're residents, cultural workers, and we represent Diversionary Theater, the nation's 3rd oldest LGBTQIA+ theater, one of very few in the nation. We operate out of University Heights and Council District 3. I stand here today because the arts saved my life and gave me purpose. I became an arts administrator to serve my community in the exact same way. The proposed devastating obliteration of arts and culture funding, slashing grants that sustain vital programs, will have catastrophic impacts on our communities. Take our work at Diversionary, where we serve thousands of at-risk LGBTQIA+ youth and elders with completely free programming. In our current national political climate, where LGBTQIA+ issues are being aggressively erased from school curriculums, our free programs are a literal lifeline for queer youth. For our LGBTQ+ seniors, many who live alone, we provide one of very few spaces for vital socialization and intergenerational learning. We partner with libraries, community centers, and local service organizations that aid veterans, the unhoused, and those fighting addiction. All of these partners are facing devastating service rollbacks, and the arts are a crucial thread in the fabric of this social support. By cutting this funding, you are cutting the very soul of San Diego. Meanwhile, raising the police budget and surveillance budget by millions in the name of public safety is a severe misstep. More police on the streets do not create safety. What creates public safety? Accessible arts and culture, libraries, parks, and community centers operating at full capacity, well-funded programs for our youth, our elders, and our unhoused neighbors create public safety. I urge you to reject these short-sighted cuts and pursue progressive revenue strategies. Other cities have figured it out. Realign this budget with true community values and restore full funding for arts and culture in the final fiscal year 27 budget. Thank you.
Doug Oliver? Doug?
Hi everyone, my name is Doug Oliphant and I speak on behalf of more than 10 San Diego-based arts and culture organizations that our firm, Coastal Nonprofit Consulting, partners with to find funding. Across the sector, funding has already been stretched thin, federal support has vanished, corporate giving has softened, and our annual donors, the middle class of philanthropy, continue to shrink. And the one source of funding that arts organizations have been able to rely on each year is the City of San Diego, through programs like OSP and CCSD. And these programs are the backbone of a healthy funding ecosystem for a nonprofit. If eliminated, the funding won't be replaced by private foundations. Instead, we're going to see programs cut, staff laid off, and communities, especially those with the least access, left behind. And worse, we risk reshaping nonprofit missions to serve a narrow set of funders instead of the people of San Diego. Arts and culture are not a line item to zero out.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Lauren? Lauren Lockhart? Lauren Lockhart? Katrina Bruins? Katrina, as you make your way up, just a reminder, Tim D., Jennifer Wallace, Rose Lombardo, Kevin Gobbets, Raul Salamanca, Carol Stevenson, and I believe this is a dupe of Julia House. If you can all please come up to the yellow reserve. Please proceed.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Katrina, and I am a resident and employee of District 2, and I'm happy to serve in the Arts and Culture District through my role at Visions Museum and Textile Art in Liberty Station. And I have seen a lot of progress over the last couple of years in arts and culture for San Diego. First in then creating the Creative Cities Plan, and it would be such a miss to use the momentum from those opportunities as the world is looking at us, as we gain attention because of the arts and culture from this city, to turn around programs. We are implementation partners, all of those that are in this room, of that Creative Cities Plan. It's really something that we believe in as well, and it's something that the city has already invested time and energy and resources into creating. So we're just asking you to continue to restore the funding for arts and culture so we can continue to implement what the city has already promised to the community through that plan.
Thank you, Tim D.
San Diego is not a sanctuary city as long as we contract with companies that don't value our data. We've had enough that we have mass surveillance. It's worse that we're contracting with companies that have poor records. I am sick and tired of losing students in my classroom because their parents are afraid to bring them to my classroom. I am sick and tired of students in my classroom not being able to pay attention because they're worried about what's going to happen to their parents. It is unacceptable. It's costing us $2 million, and seeing all the better things that we can be spending it on. It does nothing to address poverty, nihilism, isolation, which are your causes of crime. Let's do better.
Jennifer Wallace.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Wallace. After a 4-decade career as an opera singer in California, including with San Diego Opera, I now serve as Assistant Regional Director for the American Guild of Musical Artists, the union of opera, concert, and dance workers in the United States. These cuts will hurt San Diego far beyond the arts community. People attending performances and other events eat at local restaurants, shop at nearby businesses, pay for parking, and stay in local hotels. The arts help keep local. A cut of this magnitude is not something the arts community can absorb. The Creative City Plan, adopted just last year, committed to growing San Diego as, quote, an international hub for arts, culture, and creativity. That vision cannot become reality while eliminating funding that supports it.
Thank you for the remark. Rose Lombardo. Rose, you have time to you by Anna Chilcott. Thank you. 2 minutes, please.
Good evening. My name is Rose Lombardo. I am the principal flutist of the San Diego Symphony. I moved here from across the country in 2012 to be a part of this world-class art community in San Diego. The proposed cut to arts funding would harm a sector that supports thousands of local jobs, drives $1.8 billion in tourism, and provides vital education and community programs, as you've heard tonight. At the Symphony alone, our learning community engagement programs reached over 51,000 individuals during this past season through free school programs, free ticket programs, public park activations, and more. I recently also performed at the Moores Cancer Center, where we saw patients and doctors come together for an hour of free music. The arts do not just entertain, they heal, they connect, and they strengthen our community. Arts funding is a vital investment with measurable returns and human impact. I urge you to restore in full the funding for arts and culture in order to sustain the arts that make San Diego a place that we are all proud to call home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Kevin Gowitz, Professor Duke as well. Raul Salamanca.
I also have some time that was just given to me by Elizabeth Santin-Dennis.
I have her speaker slip, so I will make sure to cede it to you. You'll have 2 minutes. Thank you for raising your hand.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Raul Salamanca. I am the founder, CEO, and Artistic Director of Golden State Ballet and Golden State Ballet Academy, and I'm a resident of District 9. The last time I stood before you, I warned that cuts to the arts and culture funding would have a real economic consequence to our city. Today, I'm here to tell you that those consequences already are happening. After that meeting, our board and leadership team had to make a difficult financial decisions. Of the 4 productions that we plan on performing next season, only 1 will be able to remain in the city of San Diego. There are 3 other uncertainty surrounding future funding. That means 3 full weeks where our dancers, audiences, patrons will not be here supporting our local restaurants, paying for parking, filling theaters, and contributing to the economy that the arts support. And I know that we're not the only organization making those really tough decisions. If we continue trying to solve this budget crisis by cutting the arts, we risk deepening the very economic problems that we're trying to solve. San Diego deserves to be known not one that settles for only the bare minimum, or as I heard recently, essentials, just bare essentials. Please reconsider these cuts to the arts and culture. Please do so. It could be a wild idea if you could invest in us. If you would take that money that you would give to the city or the cops and flock, invest it in us, we'll pay it back tenfold. We're gonna be here next year talking about how we're have a $400 million deficit, not 120. I've spent my whole life doing this. Please believe in us. I have 35 years of experience.
Thank you, Carol Stevenson.
Good evening. My name is Carol Stevenson. I live in District 1 and I'm a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice in San Diego. Real safety is being around people you trust. A safe community prioritizes the places and activities that help us build that trust with one another. So places like parks and libraries, activities like youth services and the arts do all that. So knowing our neighbors and our neighborhoods goes much farther than tracking people anonymously from surveillance cameras. And investments in people are the actual proven foundation of safety. So I urge you to defund the FLOC ALPR infrastructure contract, fully restore allocations for arts and culture, and fully restore the library budget. Protect our communities by funding communities.
Thank you, Carol. Julia Puff. I believe that's the Duke. Julia. Hannah Park. If you can please come up to the microphone. Hannah Park. After that, Daniel Gutierrez, Yena Shape, Richard Provencio, Mustafi Mustafa, please come forward to the yellow reserve seats. John Lott and Divya Devotapu and Karina Vega, as well as Lily Kim. Please come up to the yellow reserve seats. Please proceed.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. My name is Hannah Park. I'm a resident of District 7 and also a member of the local arts community. I'm not going to say anything new here, but I just want to bring your attention to the matter of public trust here. It's been highlighted that the city has major structural issues with the budget that date back many years, and it struggles to generate the lack of public trust. I want you to consider the decisions that you're making with this upcoming budget and the people that are listening and looking at you to see if we actually can trust you. So please consider that. Please consider your constituents, and please restore arts and culture funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel Gutierrez.
In a challenging fiscal year, the city prioritized core services residents rely on every day. When was the last year that was not fiscally challenging? I don't know how is this an acceptable reason? This has been the state of since I can remember. The institutions that you cut funding from today will not be there tomorrow. I don't know how many more people have to tell you. $47.2 million for SDPD's overtime budget. 3 libraries are moving from Tuesday to Saturday.
Thank you. Yina? Y-I-N-A. Richard Provencio. You have people ceding you time. If they can please raise their hand. Chelsea Owen.
Sheila.
Okay, and Jimmy Lovett. Thank you. I still have 2 minutes. Please proceed.
What's up, council? What's up, everybody? Thanks for sticking it out here. Want to shout out the youth that are making it out here and getting involved in local politics. It's never been more important than it is today. I want to say that I'm not here to push for a restoration of the arts and library and Parks and Rec budget. I'm here for saying it's already way too low So just let me give you so a little bit of background on me. I'm a veteran. I struggle with PTSD, but I also am a CPA, and I did that for a better part of a decade. So I have a little bit of expertise in the area. So just some quick numbers for you. The arts budget was around itself is $2.251 billion. So quick math, that's not even a full percent. That's 0.59% of the general fund is the arts budget. Now, if we go back to the police budget, that is $725 million. That is 32% of the general fund there. So a third of the budget. So I don't understand why we're even having this conversation. Like, if we need money, let's go to the biggest slice and cut it from there. Also, I think it's interesting that we're not allowed to see the details of the police budget. There's regularly, there are multi-million-dollar settlements for negligence, wrongful deaths. Is that baked into the budget? And if so, why is that okay? You know, the budget for the police in 2021 was $580 million, and now we're already $145 million increase in just 7 years. Why are we talking about $13 million for the arts right now? Why aren't we talking about why is the police budget so big? And we can't even look at the details.
Thank you for that. If you can come up to the microphone. You'll have 2 minutes. Please proceed.
First, I want to start off with saying thank you for having me here. All right? Good evening, council members and Mayor Gloria. My name is Mustafa Algan. I am an American citizen. The bombs, the chaos, the fear no good should ever know. I came to America for safety, but just 9 days ago, on May 18th, the safety was shattered when 3 innocent men, Amin Abdullah, Madul Khazia, Nadir Awad, were murdered in a hate terrorist shooting in the Islamic Center of San Diego. This isn't just a Muslim issue. This is a San Diego issue. Black, Latino, Asian, white, Arab, indigenous, every ethnicity in this city is watching Mayor Todd Gloria. How do we even trust you? How can I, as a Muslim, American, Iraqi male, trust you? As a 20-year-old who's already survived the war, I'm tired of the same old priorities that leave working families exposed. Every ethnicity in San Diego, the black mother in the southeast, the Latino family in Barrio Logan, the Asian elders in Kearny Mesa, the Muslim youth in City Heights. We all pay taxes and we all deserve real protection. How can we even trust you without safety when this budget still doesn't prioritize the prevention of the next tragedy? I demand this councilor and Mayor Todd to restore and expand funding for community policing focused on hate crime prevention, create a dedicated grant program for security measures at all houses of worship and community centers. Every religion.
Thank you for that conclusion.
This is a 20-year-old putting it for new fight leader. And I'm not mad at you because you are our mayor.
Thank you for that concluding sentence. John Locke.
Good evening, council members. My name is John Lott, and I work at UC San Diego Health, and I've seen how recent disruptions in research funding have had repercussions that will take years to recover from, even where funding was restored. Researchers once laid off can't so easily be conjured to return. Medical studies can't be placed on pause. Similarly, our arts, culture, and youth programs are living institutions. They must be fed and cared for. They are not light switches that can just be flipped off and turned back on. Even if the idea is to cut funding for only a year or so to get the budget back on track, programs will end and institutions will decay. Any of these cuts, severe as they are, will not address the underlying economic conditions that created this deficit. Deficit spending to invest in our culture and economy is not catastrophic. It's not a fringe idea. It's mainstream economics. The federal deficit spending is 6% of GDP. Here in San Diego, it is 0.04% of our regional GDP.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Divya?
Good evening, council members. I'm Divya Devagupta, founder of a music and dance nonprofit, Niyantri, and our mission is to enable an inner awakening and inspire a collective shift in human consciousness through the transformative power of art. I'm here today to speak as a human whose life was transformed only because I also happen to have a degree in electrical engineering from USC and spent a few years working in Sorrento Valley in tech. But honestly, none of that made sense because my heart was always in art, which is why I gave it all up. Art made me a sensitive and loving human being and gave me something so intangible that no degree or high-paying salary. Several other non-profits in the city, including Arts Education Connect, Indian Fine Arts, and the only words that I've consistently heard was budget cuts, and budget cuts. And nothing has changed. It's 2026 today.
Thank you for that concluding statement. Karina Vega?
District 8 collective. I would hope that as council members and representatives of your constituents here in San Diego that you would want to uphold our safety and well-being. Flock surveillance does not make nor keep us safe. Flock being used by a terrorist entity like ICE, who are being trained by Israel using the same intimidating, torturing, raping, and murdering tactics that the IOF uses on Palestinians in their own homeland does not make us safe. This week in Delaney Hall, ICE hindered peaceful protesters and arrested medics providing aid to them for exercising their rights and advocating for the rights of humans inside these concentration camps. We have one of those concentration camps here called the Ocho Mesa Detention Center, contributing more money to the SCPD and ICE to encourage that same brutality for us who have been visiting these brothers and sisters being detained at Otay. Again, flock surveillance does not keep us safe. Flock being made possible through AI data centers that encourage heat, waste, and generate more pollution, thermal energy equivalent to multiple atomic bombs daily does not make us safe. Invest in the arts, deflock is the no cultural genocide.
Lily? You have time seated or maybe speaking with you by Jing Hong. Thank you. You'll have 2 minutes on the clock. Please proceed.
Good evening, council members. My name is Lily Quinn, and I'm the president and founder of The Point Circle, a youth-led nonprofit. I'm also a sophomore at the Bishop School and a 15-year-old dancer. I am here tonight in favor of restoring the arts and culture budget. I've been training in dance since I was 4 years old, and the arts have shaped my entire life. They have given me confidence, discipline, and an irreplaceable community I'm so grateful to have. Some of my dearest memories. In 2023, I performed as Clara in the Nutcracker with the Golden State Ballet Academy there. Maybe some of you even watched me. It felt so exhilarating to finally I know is shared amongst many other young girls as well. Because the arts have given me so much, I wanted to give something back. That's why I founded The Point Circle. Through dance, music, and other art forms, we are able to contribute back to our community. We've performed for seniors with Alzheimer's and dementia, organized annual holiday performances for families at the Rady Children's Hospital, and established our own ballerina storytime program at public libraries in Carmel Valley, PHR, Carmel Mountain, and so many more. Through our library events, our goal is to share that joy the arts brings to us with kids who might never otherwise see a live dance performance or hear a live concert. By bringing the performing arts to these spaces, we make it accessible to families who cannot afford expensive tickets. By cutting this $11.8 million, you are closing doors to thousands of kids. You are telling our future generation and leaders that creativity, culture, and community programs do not matter. Arts funding is not a luxury. It's essential to our community's well-being and further development. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Adrian Paulson? Adrian Paulson? Please come up to the microphone. After that will be Rowan Knowles, Adriel Olvera, Paul Supa, Valentina Rodriguez, and Renee Rios. If you can all please come up to the yellow reserve seats, as well as John Brady and Audra Morgan. Please proceed.
Performing arts. I've spent the last 8 years attending art schools and being as immersed in educational theater as possible. Pretty soon I plan to enter the technical theater industry for lifelong career in the industry. But what am I supposed to do if those theaters are defunded? I intend to use that money I earn from those jobs to pay for college, but what do you want me to do if they can't employ me? Most jobs will take one look at my disability and turn me away, but I have committed myself to the path out of very few employers that are actually willing to look past that. Considering I'm incredibly good at what I do and I have years of experience to prove, years of hard work to prove that. Arts is my only reliable option for success. I've worked immensely hard to build a strong foundation for my future in a way I simply would not be able to in any other industry. And these budget cuts feel akin to the city jackhammering that foundation while I stand on it because it does not care if I slip through the cracks. Is it worth it to put the livelihood of myself and so many others like me in detriment? Or should I just drive back to my school and inform all of my graduating classmates?
Rowan Knowles. The art in San Diego has always been the heart and culture of our city. I myself danced for 6 years with San Diego City Youth Ballet, and during that time, I learned the importance of dance, perseverance, and the importance of having freedom. Why are we spending all of our money on the police department? I'm a high schooler telling you this. It feels stupid for me to be here so late at night when you guys can't do your jobs. You need to start taking action. Responsibility for yourselves is embarrassing. Do better for your city.
Adriel Olvera, are you here?
She left.
Paul Supa?
Mayor Todd Gloria, overwhelmingly, citizens have stood before you tonight with a mandate to restore the arts and culture budget. You can do so simply by rescinding the $15 billion police budget increase for 2027. The people have overwhelmingly spoken. We do not want a surveillance state. Flock has cost $12.5 million over 5 years. It has been sued recently, March 2026, for privacy violations in the Jaworski class action lawsuit. It is illegal. We need to do better. We respectfully, in conclusion, we need to get the Flock out of here. We don't give a Flock, restore the arts. We don't give a Flock, restore the arts. We don't give a Flock, restore the arts. Thank you.
Valentina Rodriguez?
Council members and Mayor Gloria. My name is Valentina. I am a Navy veteran with over 16 years of service and continued service as the outreach coordinator for VDSD, Veterans Village of San Diego. When I was a veteran, I provide them with the resources and housing options we have at our campus. Veterans are provided with employment, medical, mental health resources, 3 meals daily, designated to house our veterans to get the ability that they so seek. This sudden disruption drives our entire 45-year mission.
I'm sorry, ma'am, your time has
concluded.
concluded.
Of veterans.
Definitely email your comments to cityclerk@sandiego.gov and they will be distributed. Renee Rios?
Good evening, council members. And I served in the United States Navy for 24 years. I currently serve as the program manager at Veterans Village of San Diego. I work directly with veterans and their families, helping them move towards stable, permanent housing and rebuilding their lives with dignity and support. I respectfully oppose the mayor's proposed $2.3 million allocation to take over Veterans Village of San Diego campus. We don't need your help. Our veteran community comes to us seeking stability, structure, and hope. This sudden disruption threatens VVSD's 45-year mission of serving those who served our country and can result in the displacement of veterans currently occupying our beds and participating in life-changing programs.
Thank you for that concluding sentence. John Brady. Are you here? John Brady. Audra Morgan. You put Audra Morgan on that. Oh, I'm sorry. Allegedly, Audra, please come forward. After that, we'll have Stella Kissinger, Catherine Pollitt, Noah Gold, Gino Starbuck Smith, Rebecca Nolan, and Josh Clark. Please start making your way to the front row. Please proceed.
But you're going to use it as an opportunity to say, well, there were gaps. We weren't able to follow them completely. We're going to get real, really quick. And it's great to see people coming up good stewards of our money and that they're trying to put us in a digital prison.
Time has concluded. Stella Kissinger.
Hi, I just graduated from the DACA Foundation, which is being cut. I would not be here today in a very real sense without these programs. I am a member of the La Jolla Playhouse Teen Council. I was a San Diego Symphony Student Ambassador. I did internships with the Old Globe. I am so linked with, you guys talked earlier about trade-offs, about what you needed to get rid of so that you could balance the budget. I am here asking you today, would you trade my life that I would have given up without these programs so that you can balance your budget? I want you to answer that question. It is absolutely, I am the daughter of a librarian. It is absolutely irredeemable that you would cut these programs that people rely on, that kids rely on. It is insane to me that I have to stand here today and tell you that art saves lives, that libraries save lives.
Catherine Pollitt. Please come forward to the mic. Catherine Pollitt, Noah Gold, Mike Miller, Kenny Klitich.
Sorry, let's go back a couple names. Josh Clark.
Please proceed.
I'm a District 2 resident who represented that district on the city's Bicycle Advisory Committee from 2014 to 2018, where we worked with the multimodal team as they implemented the first protected bikeways in the city. They've installed many more since, all extremely quickly, cheaply, and efficiently during repaving projects citywide from Park Village Drive and PQ to Del Sol Boulevard and Oakside Nestor. That infrastructure has increased ridership and saved lives. There are more than 600 miles of planned bikeways in the city. These are currently substandard and on dangerous streets used daily by our kids and parents and neighbors, people who are choosing to ride and people who don't have another choice. I'm asking you all to prioritize retaining the multimodal teams with just $3 million in the FY27 budget so that they may continue their expert redesigns of our roadways, making them safer for all roadway users. We have a climate action plan target of 6% for all residents trips by bike by 2030. Portland is the only major metro who has achieved that, and they did it with a multimodal team. If we fund our SU, we can meet that target with high gas prices, e-bikes, more protected bikeways, and 350 days of sunshine. Please.
Thank you. Catherine, last call for Catherine Pollitt. Noah Gold, last call for Noah Gold. Dino Starbucks, last call. Rebecca Nolan, last call. Mike Miller, please come forward.
Let's talk numbers. In order to restore the arts grants, the Office of Child and Youth Success and libraries, not just their hours, but their services and programs as well, that would cost the same amount of money that the police budget is increasing this year. Restoring rec center hours would cost the same amount of money as the block contract. The thing with the police budget is that as it has increased year over year, the crime clearance rate has decreased. At the same time, unlawful use of force, arrest, and discrimination has increased. Those are numbers from Mayor Gloria's own budget document. So don't tell me that this has anything to do with community safety. And if you don't believe me, believe the police officer union president who called this budget prioritizing politics over public safety and an unacceptable way to run a police department. Thank you.
Kenny? Please come forward.
Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Klidich. I'm a resident in District 3. Council members, you must take this opportunity to cancel the city's contract with Flock. This system is costly, ineffective, and a threat to vulnerable communities and frankly, everyone. We've seen reports of these systems being abused by police, data leaked, data shared intentionally with federal agencies, unlawfully, and now the FBI, in a recent story, wants full access to ALPRs across the entire country. This level of surveillance is outrageous and would make George Orwell blush. And by canceling this, you get $2 million in the budget to allocate towards more worthy causes. Please join at least 68 other cities, as well as your constituents, in rejecting Flock and ALPRs. Our residents deserve to be supported, not surveilled. Thank you.
Allison Miller. Allison Miller. Please come forward to the microphone. After that will be Maya Sconian, Phoenix Wing, David Pierce, Colin Kimsey, Andrea Lopez Rivera. Please proceed.
Good evening. I'm a resident of District 3 and I'm here to speak in opposition to the proposed budget revisions which are insufficient for the needs of our city. The proposed budget includes a multi-million-dollar Flock contract. I work in a local emergency department and I've seen repeatedly, firsthand, how quickly excessive surveillance and police presence can escalate a situation and lead to avoidable violence. This over-surveillance and violence disproportionately affects the most vulnerable San Diegans, which includes racial minorities, queer folks, and homeless folks. Furthermore, insufficient evidence exists that master safety of communities that employ them, with the police reporting a less than 0.2% success rate according to the Privacy Advisory Board. By contrast, evidence-based practices to improve public safety that include a robust network of community support resources, including fully funded libraries, rec centers, and home institutions like the San Diego Symphony and Pride that give San Diego its character. If the council is serious about closing the budget deficit, it is both disingenuous and unethical to commit to the Flock contract and increased police budget while simultaneously cutting the arts and other public services.
Maya? Maya, are you still here? Maya was seated time by Kevin. Kevin Dominado. Did you still want to speak? Okay. Phoenix Wing.
Is anyone willing to speak 1 minute at a time to me?
We'll go over there and get the speakers. Please proceed.
I'm here again because the numbers didn't change and I'm really disappointed, so I made the graph bigger for you guys. This revision was a complete failure. That's my first point. I have 3 points. This vision was a complete failure. If someone stabs you and sticks a knife 6 inches into your chest and then pulls it halfway out, do we thank them for the progress they are making? Do we thank them for the knife heading in the right direction? No, you do not get a thank you. This was a failed revision. The knife is still in for the arts and cultures. I am sick of hearing Mr. Modica and the mayor talk about how this addresses the budget deficit when it does not. I am a math tutor. Let me teach you some math. I did this to scale to the nearest 1/10 of an inch for you guys based on your own numbers. I have it to scale where 6 inches represents $50 million and 1 inch is about $8 million of our budget. Do you guys see this little 2.5 millimeters? That is the Neilberg Center. That is 2.5 millimeters. Arts and culture is, before the cuts, is 1 inch. 1 2/3 of an inch. After the cuts, it is less than a quarter of an inch. Less than a quarter of an inch. I have measured that out with a special type of ruler. What's the police budget, I wonder? Here's this for the cameras. Do you guys see this? Yep. Do you guys think this is it? Is this it?
No, more.
What's this? The police budget to scale is 7 foot 1 inch, and you will increase it. What's left of the arts and cultures program so you can take it to the end of the police budget and tell us how you're solving the deficit?
You've been doing really good. Let's keep it up. We still got, how much more left?
We have about an hour.
Another hour. Let's get through it.
David Pierce here. Colin Kimsey.
Wow, doesn't real art just make you feel alive? That was if they're cutting the things that prevent crime, and things are getting more expensive, but they're investing in surveillance cameras and cops, it sounds like you guys just want to lock us up. Is that the plan? Because I think that's the plan coming from Washington, and maybe you guys are just going with the path of least resistance, but that's what's been taking us to fascism. Now, each of us gets 1 minute to speak, and we've been very conscious of this time, but I think time is running out for this system that proposes cameras and police as our solutions. Art gives us the ability to imagine otherwise. With this system, I think time is about to run out.
Andrea Lopez Rivera.
Good evening. My name is Andrea. I'm hungry, I'm pregnant, and I'm past my bedtime to strongly oppose the gutting to arts and culture. The reduction in staff to libraries around the county and the reduction of funding to parks from the fiscal year 2027 budget. This budget is so egregious. You all have succeeded in having hundreds of working people sacrifice their workday evening to sit here and say what should be obvious to you all. A reduction to arts, culture, libraries, and parks will not only affect the lives of San Diegans today, but reverberate into the future. You are setting a precedent that this city can function without funding to the parts of our community that are explicitly dedicated to making us human. You must fully restore funding to arts and culture. As a writer and artist, the last few years have been devastating. Again and again, private sector tech companies have pushed to remove people from the arts and humanities, offloading the labor of creating art to generative AI technologies. When a city fund highlights what they believe matters, we need to tax the extreme wealth in the city and demonstrate that the people who matter are the ones who live here, not the ones that station here.
Rafael. And then if Roger Rouse could please come forward to speak to my staff. Roger Rouse, if you're still here, please come forward to the thing. Please proceed.
I stand here in solidarity with the artists. I love living here, but this city's representatives continue to push for surveillance cameras on every corner, reduce library hours, and cut library jobs and services, continue to increase the funding of the towards arts and culture. Those representatives are telling the community that they don't matter. I just want to make sure to remind the members of the council and the mayor that without us, the people, you don't matter. Thank you.
Sabrina Anderson, if you can please come up to the microphone. After Sabrina, we have Letty Soto, Gaby Chen, Kendra Jones, Laura Clevinga, Jim Whalen, and Seth Hall. If you can all please come forward to the yellow reserve seats. Sabrina, if you're here, please come up to the microphone. No Sabrina at the microphone? Sabrina Anderson? Letty Soto? Oh, please come up to the microphone.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor Gloria. Before coming here tonight, I ask God to give me the strength to bear the sorrows of what has become San Diego under this administration. My name is Letty Soto. I'm the CEO of Brooklyn Dogs, and I come upon you humble and full of faith of a Christian soul looking for your mercy in a desperate situation. So please do not forsake me. I implore you, City Council, please, to enforce the ordinance you passed to stop illegal street vending. Downtown has always been a dangerous playground, but it has gotten worse. But because of mishandled money, the budget shortfall again and again. All the departments are suffering, and this disturbs my soul. Budget cuts means no enforcement to us again and again. The public is in danger, please. If you think about it and you get the illegal vendors to pay fines and fees, the city will be tremendously under budget. Please.
Thank you. Gabby Chen?
Good evening. My name is Gabby Chen, and I am a resident of District 3. I moved here to San Diego to pursue a career in the arts. I've been fortunate enough to work with many local San Diego theater groups, such as Trinity Theater Company, Diversionary Theater, and La Jolla Playhouse. I also work as an educator at the Fleet Science Center, whose youth education programs are now in danger. Many of our workshops take place in libraries. If those libraries are not open, we cannot do our jobs. If we don't have free museum days, we will lose attendance from lower income families. You are robbing your constituents and citizens of a vital educational opportunities. More pressing than the threat to the livelihoods of us artists and educators is the threat facing San Diego youth should this budget be adopted. Arts and culture funding is essential. It not only enriches underserved communities. It is abhorrent that $2 million of the dollars that could go to arts and culture funding is proposed to go to the city surveillance that will ultimately be used to harm them. This money that could be used to improve our community is being put towards flop cameras and bloating police budget would be a great help to me.
Thank you for that concluding comment. Kendra Jones?
Good evening, my name is Kendra Jones. I'm here to ask you to fully restore our city library budget. My wife and I have lived and voted and have been avid users of the San Diego City Library System over this time. We visit our local branch weekly. We access materials, both digital and print, that we check out on a daily basis. As a retired public school teacher and a parent, I have personally seen the positive effects of kids and families that utilize our public libraries. In addition to checking out books, our libraries offer young people the chance to socialize with others in a safe and welcoming environment, learn to love books and stories, receive tutoring and homework help, and through programs like the summer reading program, kids are motivated to become educated, lifelong learners who are productive citizens of our community. Adults in our community are bolstered by our libraries too. We have, personally, we have visited over 20 of their 37 branch libraries, and we've seen firsthand the varied programs and spaces that our library staff have curated. Keeping all of them open as many hours as possible allow diverse groups and individuals to actually use the community gathering meeting spaces that our city has built.
Your time has concluded. Laura?
Good evening, my name is Laura Klebengat, and I'm a native San Diegan who has lived here my entire life. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Whitburn for being one of the 3 who listened to his constituents and voted against the parking fees of Balboa Park. I spent a lot of time there and take advantage of the free museums at the free Tuesdays at the museums. I'm afraid that your budget cuts will impact the accessibility of these resources for my 3.5-year-old child to learn from. I brought my mom here with me tonight and my son because my husband is a union stagehand at work, and I'm also speaking on his behalf since now he's off work at home with my son. So I don't know if you saw me earlier, I have my son. As a longtime member of the House of Ukraine, as part of the House of Pacific Relations, I worry that your budget cuts will affect how the cottages will be able to provide their cultural. As some of you have witnessed firsthand, the House of Pacific Relations provides free educational opportunities for the general public and a sense of community for its various member countries.
Thank you, Jim Whalen. Jim Whalen, are you here? Seth Hall?
Thank you, Council. Seth Hall with the Trust Destiny Coalition. Tonight I've heard several ideas that are good for redirecting funding back to OCYS, to arts and culture, and other community needs. First, for an example, the millions of increase to the police budget should absolutely be redirected to these community needs. The police department should contribute to the public safety needs of our city. Money that funds the mayor's communications staff, a team that does not serve the public. each should have its funding cut, could provide millions to the needs of the community. And finally, lastly, cutting funding for ineffective luxury mass surveillance would send millions back to the budget. It would protect the budget from even more surveillance that they want to buy, but that they are not telling you about. It is the people of San Diego that make us great. We will be great. We were great before mass surveillance. We will be great after we do it.
Lily Arani? Lily Arani, please come forward. Vincent Stalcup, please come forward to the yellow reserve seat. Andy Jose Lopez, please come forward. Dr. Jason Brzezowski, thank you for the comment, the note. Apollo Achino and Tammy Williams, as well as Anthony Rouse. If you can all please come forward to the yellow reserve seats. Lily, you have time ceded to you by Tama Becker-Verano. I know you guys are going to manage your time. Please proceed.
All right, hi, I'm a District 3 Muslim and a professor at UCSC. Our San Diego community faced immense tragedy this last week. 2 shooters who found belonging in white supremacist forums murdered 3 pillars of the community, brothers Amin, Mansour, and Nader. I call on the city to fund spaces of belonging like we've been hearing about here as diversions from those spaces of hate. AOPR not only failed but made things worse. When the parent warned the PD that their Islamophobic, anti-Semitic child was on the run with guns, the police used high-tech toys to, quote, chase the bad guys. This is a Hollywood fantasy of chase, apprehension, and saving the day. But the police arrived too late at every turn. Rather than chasing a license plate, the police could have been calling each community center to warn them of heightened threat. Gates could have been shut. PD could have sent protective patrols. Instead, they gave chase with ALPR and neglected the real source of safety: relationships, rapid response information, and community-controlled protection. The police will always be late compared to communities themselves. AI doesn't overcome the laws of physics. Whole flock funding, fund prevention, no police increase, and gross fines to stop Islamophobia, actual anti-Semitism, and hate wherever it comes.
My name is Tama Becker-Verano, resident of District 6 and lead organizer of Change Begins With Me, and also a member of the Trust Coalition. I wanted to make sure that Lily had enough time to speak tonight. I echo the critical points that she made, the tragic real-time demonstration that technology was communities across the country are realizing the fact that surveillance technology does not prevent crises. It misdirects funding. And right now, we're seeking funding wherever we can find it, and flock contracts require expensive, recurring drains on our municipal funds. By canceling these contracts, we can redirect them to address the real needs of our community.
Thank you for that statement. Vincent Stalcup?
Good evening, city officials and the mayor. My name is Vincent Stalcup. I'm a native San Diegan, current resident in District 9, and I grew up in District 3 and District 4. I graduated from San Diego City College and San Diego State University, where I'm a current graduate student, and I'm here to speak on the inaccessibility of public restrooms in the city of San Diego, and I want to specifically speak on District 3. I don't know if you walked around downtown. I believe it's supposed to be a restroom every 5 minutes, but especially in the East Village area, it's definitely not happening. We're talking about cutting funding from the Neil Good Day Center. And then there's just no bathrooms out there. So, I mean, unless you want more outbreaks, more people dying, I suggest you do something. There's been decades and decades. So much. This is a persistent problem. Please do something about it before more people die. Thank you.
Andy Jose Lopez?
Good evening, my name is Andy Jose Lopez, and I'm part of Sanitation Justice. I'm a research student at San Diego State University. I come today to ask you to not cut the budget for the bathroom, the libraries, because those are where the public bathrooms are at. So you close your public bathroom, but you're also cutting the access that they already have. I also want to let you know that It's not a luxury to have these places, but something necessary. I also, the research that we had done, we see that the bathroom gets closed at 2:30 to 5 o'clock when they are out near school. So the access is already being cut for these students. But most of all, what I want to bring to your attention is that these kids are going to go into places. I was a victim of things getting cut in New York City when I was growing up, and we found ways to get in trouble because we had no other places to go. So this is what you want to create for San Diego, the city that's safely.
Thank you for that considering comment. Dr. Jason Brzezowski.
Hi, my name is Jason. I'm a resident of E3. I'm here to urge you to safety team fund it, at least partially. This wouldn't take money from other services because the transportation department is already funded in its budget. This is just about priorities within transportation. I was here when the council declared safety as transportation's highest priority. The traffic safety team is only 2% of the transportation budget. If safety is truly the highest priority, I think we can dedicate 2% of the transportation budget to safety, even if that means slightly fewer pothole spills or less graffiti removed. 2 months ago, we also had a presentation here in Chambers about children and e-bike safety. Without the multimodal team, there will be no safe place for kids to ride e-bikes. The bicycle master plan won't get implemented, and kids on bikes will be stuck either on the road in front of high-speed cars or on the sidewalks with pedestrians. Neither is acceptable. So please fund the multimodal team. Thank you.
Apollo Achino. Apollo. Tammy Williams. Tammy Williams.
I'm Tammy Williams. I'm the ASC 1931 intern and an Audrey graduate. I'm asking you guys to maintain funding in San Diego arts and culture instead of pause on the funding of FLOC until an independent audit is being done on the private company as you suggested 2 days ago. Considering the terrorist attack that occurred last week, I prevented that, changed that. It's events like December nights, programs like OCYS, these meetings here that let us know that men and unity. Foster community should not be up for discussion in San Diego, not now and not ever. We can be the example for the United States, or we can be an example. Thank you.
Anthony Rouse. Anthony Rouse, right here. People that ceded time to him, if they would like to speak, Gwendolyn Garcia or Roger Rouse. Joy Sunyata, if you can please come forward. After Joy, we have Karen Hallelujah. Evan Burke. Bo Fox. Jillian Quint. Nicolas Lindlar. Mojia Hu. Casey O'Leary Montezuma. And Mary Soriano. If you can all please come up to the yellow reserve seats. Please proceed.
This is my second reading. I am inspired by these words of President John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. End of quote. All of you are at the very top of our city's organization chart. Our city has a structural budget deficit. Here are my inspired words to all of you. Ask not what your city can do for you. Now, I support this budget. I support this budget because of the participation.
Thank you, Karen.
My name is Karen Alleluia. I'm an illustrator from District 7 who grew up in District 4. The very possibility of this drastic cut tells me that you don't see us, that you don't understand who artists are and what we do. But we are economic drivers. We encourage spending, draw audiences from all over the world, and create jobs. If you go through with this cut, you irreversibly damage our entire creative ecosystem, and not just nonprofits, but individual artists like me, my accessible art community, small business, and more, because all of us are connected. Invest in us though, and we will always give back. Also, artists also teach people how to think critically, empathize with others, and imagine better systems. In an AI-driven future, in a divided political climate, we need these human skills. Artists are investments for the future. Listening to all these people speak, what more do you need to hear? We're tired of being treated like an afterthought and having to fight for our sustainability year. For your story and full funding.
Thank you for that concluding sentence. And then Mark?
Hi, my name is Evan Burke. I'm in District 3. Despite having 2 hours advance notice and a multi-million-dollar flock surveillance system, police completely failed to reduce casualties 9 days ago. Yet the mayor chose to praise the police for bringing this threat to an end. To be clear, despite receiving 1/3 of our budget, they did not. Time after time, we watch our money go towards punishment instead of prevention. We suffer in a vicious cycle where police failures are always an excuse to raise their budget, while the successes of our parks, libraries, and programs are never enough to save them. But what keeps us safe are our libraries, where people can learn instead of being indoctrinated into neo-Nazi cults, or the arts where they can learn to express emotions without violence. And yet that is what is cut in the name of austerity. Thank you. Those of you who forced this Orwellian surveillance system upon us will never be able to refund our money. And some of you are not even here. But you can restore our privacy and stop the bleed. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone and end flock.
Hi, good evening, council members and mayor. My name is Bo, and I'm the deputy director at the San Diego Youth Symphony. I live and work in District 3. My colleagues Kate and Samir were here just weeks ago accepting a proclamation for our 80th anniversary. That longevity is only possible with sustained support from public investment. San Diego is home to many talented, dedicated, and inspiring young musicians with limitless potential. Cuts to arts and culture funding will impact them negatively. The students in our programs are not just the city's future musicians. They will be teachers, they'll be researchers, they'll be doctors, administrative professionals. They will be civic leaders in this very chamber. Arts and culture is an investment in the future of San Diego, and I ask you to restore arts and culture funding to 26 levels. Thank you.
Jillian Quint?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm with the San Diego River Park Foundation. Thank you, Council President, for leading discussions on the West Valley River crossing. This month, over 120 community members have submitted letters urging you to reopen the CIP using developer impact fees. Because this project expands alternative transportation capacities across districts 2, 3, 7, and 9, it does align with the core intent of these funds. Using non-general fund dollars ensure we do not compete with, but rather connect libraries and parks and work centers and transit. Allocating this targeted seed money of $750,000 for the 30% design engineering study is the key needed to draw down millions in federal matching dollars and state. Advancing this project into design is a high leverage move the city can make this year towards reaching climate action goals and turning a safety gap into a continuous safe line for our communities. The momentum is clear and the funding exists. Please reopen the CIP for the West Valley River Crossing.
Nicholas Lindler?
This is Lar. I'm a constituent of District 2. I was born and raised in Claremont. I'm from San Diego forever. And I'm asking, why are we putting so much money into flock? There's going to be no reason to surveil people. Nobody's going to go outside. Arts are getting cut. Restrooms are going away. Over half the restrooms in Mission Bay Park can close. They're going to allow you to work over there. Why are we taking it away? We should make the most of it. The 24, or what claims to be a 24-hour restroom down at the bottom of this building doesn't even open right now. But we get more restrooms, so we get more art. That's my thoughts on things.
Good evening, council members. I am a queer artist living in District 1 and District 6. I am standing here as a representative of more than 200 artists from San Diego Museum of Art Artists Guild. Saving more than $10 million today by wiping out arts funding is choice that San Diego cannot afford. Local creative economy generates more than $1 billion in economic activity every single year and brings in more than $100 million in tax revenue. This giant financial engine simply cannot be ignored. We are already facing a talent drain due to a shortage of support for our contemporary art scene, and we're losing more of bright new art school graduates to Los Angeles at this moment. I witnessed this happening at South California from a trilingual collector base. City grants act as the essential foundation to change this. They attract private foundation dollars, such as the $13.4 million emergency
Thank you for that concluding statement. Casey O'Leary, Montezuma.
Hi, I'm Casey O'Leary Montezuma with a C. Mayor Gloria, council members, Councilmember Moreno. I've lived here in San Diego for 21 years in Council District 8 in Sherman. The arts are critical to all citizens, and the wonderful mosaic that makes San Diego, Sherman Heights, that does not walk, I don't drive, so I appreciate the walkability of the city. And I remember growing up in the Bay Area and how the introduction to the arts shaped who I am as an individual. By defunding the arts, you're creating a ghost city, and this also affects different areas of the city, such as hospitality. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mary Soriano. After Mary, we have Cody Ingram. Please come up to the yellow reserve seat. Nicole Burgess, Megan Ibarra, Ray, Kamal Martin, and Alice Dingman. Please proceed.
Wouldn't that be 2 minutes? I had 1 minute to use it too.
I didn't have a seated time on your speaker.
I got a seated time.
You can proceed. I'll figure it out while you're speaking. Please continue.
Okay. Mary Soriano, President, La Jolla Town Council. First, I want to add, but please take this as just an opportunity to listen to the people for your, almost last year, 2028? That's all. Just take this opportunity as that. Cracks, food! Where are the firefighters? Where are they? They're busy managing dry bush on city land. They are busy with planning outreach. The city consolidated their duties. Consolidating or cutting fire affects response time. It affects lives. What is the real cost of understaffing those who run towards danger so we can evacuate safely? La Jolla Recreation Center cut from full hours to 40 hours. That's $77,000 in savings against a $140 million deficit. Wasn't sure if it's still 120, but I heard 140. The math doesn't justify the impact. Our ask, before any final vote, please assure La Jolla families and other communities who enjoy the rec center by the sea meets with council in San Diego Parks and Recs. We are ready to be partners in finding solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. And you had Gia, time. You had 2 dupes, so your other speaker slip was farther down. Cody Ingram.
Members of the council, Mayor Gloria, my name is Cody Ingram. I am a veteran
I'm a constituent from District 9, and I also worked as an EMT here for the city of San Diego. I am a direct example of what can happen when arts are accessible to the veteran population. I would not be here without the arts. I've been working as an actor here for over 10 years, and the arts are directly responsible for me being able to reconnect with my humanity, and it is vital to our veteran population to be able to explore and understand that their emotions are not to be scared of, and that they can explore them safely. Without that, 22 veterans die every day, and we cannot allow that to happen. This is too important, especially in a military city, and additionally, the arts is what makes San Diego brilliant and beautiful. Why are we trying to take that away? I come from a law enforcement family. Public safety is important, but it does not to be this important in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole Burgess. After Nicole, we have Megan Ibarra, Ray, Kamal Martin, Ellis Zingman, Megan Kettle, Mary Kumar, Samantha Castronovo, and Christiane Frank. Those are our final speakers here in council chambers. Please proceed.
All right, good evening. Thank you, everyone. D2 resident, State Streets advocate, and one of the many San Diegans that actually choose to ride a bike for transportation. A big shout out to the previous public comments, our youth, arts, culture, and a healthy, vibrant team. That is what has created safer streets for all users. And when we create safer streets for pedestrians, bikers, we actually create safer streets for people driving cars. So less enforcement. I appreciate the leadership as Mayor Gloria helped write the Climate Action Plan, endorsed Vision Zero, and recently adopted Complete Streets policy. Sadly, the budget does not represent these plans, policies, or values. There are 300 repaving miles in this budget, and I would gladly forgo 15 of those miles to fund that multimodal.
Nicole Burgess. Oh, that was you. My apologies. 4 hours. Megan Ibarra.
Good evening, and I'm a voter in District 3. At the public hearing on December 9th, I testified against the flock surveillance contract because stolen people are worth more than stolen cars. Directly after that, a police representative said that the police department needs to retain data and gather data in order to support survivors of sexual violence. SCBT data does not support the idea that ALPR surveillance and data retention leads to higher arrests, much less conviction rates for sexual violence. Most data shows that police officers themselves are more likely to commit family violence. Just last week, another SCPD officer was arrested and is facing multiple charges for sexual violence. Cops commit crimes. Community members and keep each other safe and save lives. We saw that last week. A vote for surveillance and increased police budgets in this context is a vote against life. The teenage youth who committed horrific acts of violence last week were not apprehended by SCPD. They were stopped by brave community members.
Thank you for that opening sentence, Ray.
Hello, my name is Ray. Council. On behalf of the Randalls, I wanted to apologize to everybody here how the county, the city, this area has treated you. This is unacceptable. We did not hand the keys over to you to treat the people like this. The historians, the genealogists can explain more to you, but this is not going to happen anymore. I'm going to be more involved here in San Diego, and we're going to find a solution that everybody can benefit on a holistic approach. Thank you.
Kamal Martin. Kamal, you have Time Ceded to You by Lauren Lockhart. Are you here? I don't see a Lauren Lockhart or Leslie Simon. Thank you. You'll have 2 minutes. Please proceed.
Evening council members, evening staff, evening Mayor Gloria. My name is Kamal Martin, co-founder of Art Power 18. 3 of our neighbors were martyred, shot to death at the Islamic Center of San Diego. Amin Abdullah, Mansour Kaziha, and Nader Awad. As a Muslim in the city, I grieved with our community for over a week. I've also watched the familiar civic rituals that follow these moments: press conferences, vigils, pledges of more patrols. I want to say plainly what most people already know, but often will not admit: police did not and could not stop this attack. Officers arrived minutes after the first call. The shooters were already finished, gone to another location, killed themselves before the officers fired a single shot. They were 17 and 19 years old. They met online. They radicalized each other in the kind of profound isolation that the U.S. Surgeon General has called a public health epidemic, deadly as smoking more than a pack of cigarettes a day. Young Americans aged 15 to 24 have seen a 70% drop in time spent with friends over the past 2 decades. That is the soil that hatred grows in. 2 boys with no one to belong to found a perverse belonging in each other's worst impulses. So ask the right question. What kind of public investment intervenes before the trigger is ever pulled? It is not more millions thrown into surveillance. It is not another armored vehicle. It's the after-school theater program, the youth mural project, the community choir, the teaching artist who knows your child's % drop in serious crime. Further research has shown that every 10 community nonprofits per 100,000 residents drives the murder rate down by almost 10%. Arts and culture is not a frill. They are the social fabric that catches our young people before they fall into the algorithms of hate. They are, in the most literal sense, life-saving infrastructure. San Diego is now weighing cuts to roughly all of its arts and culture grant-making budget, and I'm asking my city, in the names of Amin, Mansour, Nader, the children and teachers of the mosque, to reverse that course. Fund the artists, fund the centers, fund the connections.
Thank you for that explanation. Alex?
Hi, my name is Alice Digman. I'm from District 2, and I go to school every morning on the city bus, on roads that the city paved. I do my homework at Robb Field, a city park. I walk home on the Ocean Beach San Diego River bike path, which the city built. There are so many city programs that have impacted my life and the life of everyone, and Flock is not one of them. I have never once thought, wow, thank goodness the city put $2 million aside for automated license plate readers. I thought, thank goodness for this buffered bike lane. Thank goodness they repaired this crack in the sidewalk. How does Flock help the actual people here?
Thank you for that including sentence. Megan? Kettle?
Let me take a moment to acknowledge the words spoken today, the lives that have been lost, and the lives that we're trying to save today through the arts. In the words of the great philosopher Prince, dearly beloved, we are gathered here together today to get through this thing called life. And if there's one thing I've learned as a mental health advocate in San Diego Native, we can do more than get through life. We can thrive. And that comes from the arts, the libraries, our park and recreation, and every single person that's standing here behind me today. The San Diego Arts brings in $1.1 billion and makes 170,000 jobs in the creative sector. Imagine 170,000 people standing here behind me right now. From last time, for the youth and for those jobs, I'm asking to keep the Office of Youth and Success.
Hi, thank you, Council. Thank you, Mayor. From painting a mural, and I was in Oceanside. I still have like a little purple in my hair and on my pants. I'm assisting muralist Katie Ya, who also works for Art Reach San Diego, which is a recipient of they create beauty resulting in pride in one's community. We also know that crime is measurably reduced when murals are present. So this week, juicy hues of indigo, purple, magenta, and orange. And I see the students are watching us in the courtyard. What are they thinking? Perhaps it's, maybe I can be an artist too when I grow up. They actually assisted us at the start of the mural, so please come by and see it sometime. For a student, art creates outside-the-box thinking, creative solutions, better performance in other school subjects, and coherent thinking. But most importantly, therapy, which mentioned by others here, Art Heals. Please, that which fosters community and pride deserves full
Thank
funding.
you for that considerable message. Samantha Castronova.
Good evening, council members. My name is Samantha Castronovo, and I'm here to say firmly no on FLOC, no on electronic surveillance. Yes to the arts, and I say yes to everything I've heard this evening from 6:30 p.m. until now on yes for the arts. Amazing speakers. If that's not one example of what arts does for the city of San Diego. You have tremendous advocates and have had all for the last 4 hours, amazingly so. Yes to fire funding, restore fire for 2027 at the same level as currently being funded. Attendance events.
Thank you, Councilman Fire. Christiane Frank. You have time stated to you by Valerie Inez. Thank you. 2 minutes, please proceed.
Okay, as a good recovering theater arts major, I know you want to bring it back to how it started. That's how you really drive home the message. I know I'm the last speaker and I sound like I've been the only one. I'm so sorry. So on April 20th in this very chamber, our independent budget analyst, I apologize in advance if I butcher your last name, Charles Modica, nailed it, urged speakers to offer solutions for the budget gaps. After the presentation at the start of this meeting, when the sun was still up, I have a suggestion. While I am clearly proud to volunteer for the La Jolla Playhouse, as this bright pink shirt tells you, I'm also a former junior golfer who played across California. I personally know multiple golf tourists who gladly spend thousands of dollars on one golf vacation. Yes, in this economy. Torrey Pines is one of America's premier public courses. Their highest greens fees for non-residents, $322. Another top public course in our state, Pebble Beach, it's $675, more than double. Raising non-resident green fees at Torrey would generate revenue without burdening San Diegans and without depriving us of our arts and culture orbs. It seems clear the city is leaving money on the table by underpricing one of our premier assets. As all golfers know, that's a big old double bogey on the city's scorecard. So I'm going to ask you to please restore the arts funding. Thank you. I'm not even using all my time. You're welcome.
Virtual public comment, but I will note for the record that we did receive 10 public speaker slips in opposition that wanted to register their position but did not wish to speak. Going to those participating on the line, we have Carla. Do we still have one speaker here? If you can give me your name.
Hi, Andrea.
Oh, Andrea Mambia. Yes, you can see your time.
So sweet, thank you.
Please proceed.
Apologies to all. My name is Andrea Mambia. I am a lifelong resident of District 8, and I'm also a professional commercial artist. So today's meeting is quite important to me. I believe our city has a priority issue rather than a revenue issue. This draconian budget is threatening to cut the foundation of San Diego community in favor of ineffective surveillance theater. What are we to do without properly funded libraries, parks, recreations, and artist programs? These programs are the engines that fuel our cultural and economic excellence, from our tourism industry to our community engagement. Yet, our police department is practically given a blank check for surveillance. The hard data doesn't lie. These surveillance systems are less than 1% effective in crime resolution and prevention. Furthermore, they offer no new jobs, no community engagement, no tourism money, no civic pride. They're not really giving anything back to us, so FLOC has already leaked our city's data. FLOC is already harassing cities across the nation for wanting to rein in their abuse of power. Cities across the nation are currently pulling out of their ALPR programs in droves. due to safety concerns, because let us mention, surveillance is eroding the peace of mind of our residents. This is not an opinion, this is very much a fact. Our city budget is to the police, and over 2 million of it is just to block one of our ALPR programs. One, we have multiple. I invite all of you, including our beloved mayor, let's just cut surveillance theater in favor of actual theater, you know, something that gives back.
That does conclude your time, and that does conclude public comment hearing, council chambers.
Thank you all.
I started the 5-minute timer, and now speakers in the starting with Carla. If you can please unmute. Carla Garcia. I can't unmute for you. If you cannot unmute, we will need to move on to the next speaker. We'll move on to the next speaker. Hold on a second. I'm having technical difficulties. Okay, one more time. Let's start again. Alan Dolgaro, if you can please unmute. Alan Dolgaro, please unmute.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Great. I'm Alan Dolgaro, President of the La Jolla Recreation Center Board. Thank you, council members and mayor, for ensuring no recreation center closures. You listened to your communities about the high priority of rec centers and acted. Clearly, the generational and societal value far exceeds a small investment. Additionally, paid programs are self-sustaining or generate surplus revenue not fully factored in. Going from 60 to 40 hours is a huge 33% cut that will eliminate many of those programs and activities for either seniors in the mornings or kids in the afternoon. The calculated savings from the proposed reduction is a near $80,000 for a rec center, while millions are allocated to lower priorities. The math doesn't work. Please do the right thing, finish the job, and fully restore all hours to all rec centers. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Next is Andrew. If you can please unmute. Andrew Hollingworth. Andrew Hollingworth, I have given you permission to unmute. I can't unmute for you. I will need to move on to the next caller if you can't unmute. Next is Brittany Munoz. Brittany, if you can please unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Brittany Munoz, and I am a District 7 resident, but I serve youth all across the city of San Diego. I work in social services and directly with at-risk youth that are impacted by budget cuts. I ask that you fund the Office of Surveillance. They need more programming and resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Carlos Maria and Crystal. If you can please unmute.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, council members and Mayor Gloria. I'm here to address the same thing I have advocated for the past 2 years, going on 3. A clear and effective stormwater infrastructure repair plan, along with programs to help aid our damaged community. As a Showtown resident who has long lived my entire 29 years of life in this beautiful town and neighborhood, I worry for the lack of efforts that we have witnessed. It's time for a change. Please bring about this change, we ask. You have a chance to redeem your stance with us residents. Please allocate the right amount of money to repair neglected infrastructure that has caused so much real harm, livelihood harm, traumatizing harm, and the recovery struggles that we have all faced and continue to face, unfortunately. This is a reality that is not pretty, but we are here to show reality not pretty. Please listen to us, Shelltown residents. We have been begging for help and cheers breaking down. I've seen strong men cry.
I'm sorry, your time has concluded. Christine Wellborn, if you can please unmute.
Hi. We need funding for arts, libraries, parks and rec, and police. Those things should not be even debated. What we do not need is Gloria's communication department. Communication is the act of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, and emotions to establish shared meaning. Gloria sends texts and posts to social media, but doesn't allow or interact with responses. That's one-sided propaganda. We can afford to fund police, arts, libraries, parks, and recs if we repeal Measure L and stop giving all of you raises. Put your money where your mouths are and put repeal Measure L on the November ballot. Also, let's get rid of Mayor Gloria's beast. He should be biking those sexy streets he's so proud of. Thank you.
Concluded. There are 16 speakers in the queue. No additional speakers will be taken. Eric B., if you can please unmute. Eric B.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
Thank you. My name is Eric Anderson. I'm a member of DSA and Trust Coalition in District 9. Everybody knows the cop who promises a victim's family that they're going to catch the killer at the beginning of the movie is either a fool or a madman. When Council Member Von Wilbert, who appears to be absent today, says flock to close the case. As a crime victim myself, there is no such thing as closure. There is no restorative justice in prisons. Don't drop the soap. Defund the police. I have diverticulitis. I pooped my pants in public several times. When you defund public bathrooms, you're dropping the soap for all of us, leaving us in the moment more vulnerable to crime. Preventive measures can only be found in libraries, parks, schools, venues, and public bathrooms. The SDPD was found liable for the largest wrongful death settlement in the history of the United States. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you do nothing...
Your time has concluded. Hakeem, if you can please unmute. Hakeem, if you can please unmute.
Thanks for taking my call. I just got back from Balboa Park and the graduation down there. One thing you can do tomorrow is pull all the parking meters in Balboa Park. No more parking meters. People will come back there. Some of the people can get their jobs back. The Railroad Museum laid off 4 people because there's nobody there coming. So do that now, and then you can see something, say something. And the young Muslim kid, that guy was angry, really angry. I'm sure you guys are looking into that, but all those young kids, who's 19, 20, they're angry, man. And even, take a look at them and know you are looking at them. And then you got the kids that did the shooting. What kind of psych drugs were you taking the last year? What were the drugs they were taking? We need to be honest with the community, and you just don't do that out of nowhere. Maybe it took a year for them to do that.
Your time has concluded. John, if you can please unmute.
Well, welcome to America's shittiest city. Why is it shitty? Well, we don't have any public bathrooms anymore. We don't even have the Civic Corps bathroom open 24 hours. We're closing the Yoga Day Center, where hundreds of people use every day to launder their clothes and keep themselves clean and we have requirements that people put in bathrooms in their commercial establishment, but we don't ensure that they're still open. We have Petco Park with hundreds of bathroom stalls, yet none of them are open during the day. So why is it America's shittiest city? Oh yeah, we got rid of all the arts. TV. Doing nothing, but there's nothing to do. No art. Art saved my life. Many of the members of LEO came out of the Voices of Our City program, which just laid off 5 people thanks to these cuts. We can't afford to not have the arts and feel safe. Thank you.
Kate, if you can please unmute.
Thank you. My name is Kate. I'm speaking here today in my role as development manager at the San Diego Museum of Art. The city's OSP grants are a critical and rare source of public funding. Tier 1 organizations like SDMA, anchor institutions employing hundreds of arts and culture workers and driving economic growth, are ineligible to even apply for public funds from our state agency, the California Arts Council. Our revenue streams are diverse, and we already rely heavily on private philanthropy, but losing over $300,000 in annual funding represents a significant loss for our institution. This budget also proposes cutting funds for 6 permanent comfort stations in Balboa Park. SDMA's public restrooms in the West Wing are already heavily relied on by families, children, and people of all ages. This cut increases our burden of support and costs for sanitation, utilities, supplies, and security. This budget will mean real cuts to events, programs, exhibitions, and jobs. Please consider these realities as we fight to restore funding for OSP and CCSD.
Thank you for that concluding remark. I'll also note that the 5-minute timer did conclude a while ago. If you're raising your hand now, unfortunately, we won't be able to get to you, but you can definitely send in comments to cityclerk@sandiego.gov, and those will be distributed to the council. Logan Meeks, if you can please unmute. Logan.
Good evening, Council. My name is Logan Beggs, and I'm here with Youth Glow Organization as a concerned young person. I urge the Council today to not cut funding for the Office of Child and Youth Success. This office has run over $5 million in grants and funding for childcare, refugee student support, and upgrading city property. All of these funding and actions have directly supported our youth in the city. Community. We know that this is a tough funding and that there is no revenue, and therefore we propose to eliminate the FLOC contract. Though if the council does not agree with this, we urge you all to please find an alternative to keep OC. A better investment starts with us and it starts with the youth, rather than FLOC security. I thank you all for your time tonight, and once again, urge you to invest in the youth.
Thank you. Morgan, if you can please unmute.
Hi there, good afternoon or good evening. My name is Morgan Justice Lack. I currently serve as the chair of the city's Community Forest Advisory Board. A lot of great things have been said tonight. One thing I want to draw your attention to is that the May revise does not restore the budget for the one urban forestry program coordinator within the transportation department. This is especially concerning because the May revise also consolidates the tree maintenance functions within transportation, moving from Park and Rec. So now we see 8 additional positions without this and manage the workflow. We're concerned about the downstream consequences and the critical role that this position plays in protecting public safety and risk management. I urge you to please reconsider and add that staff member back in so that we can support a healthy urban forest moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. If you can unmute. Nancy Bell. There you go.
Hi, thanks for hanging on so long. I'm a resident of District 9, and I pass by 6 FLOC cameras every weekday on my 1.3-mile drive to drop my kids off at school. 6. That's insane. It's a $2 million price tag for this contract with FLOC that's ineffective 99.97% of the time, including last week with the terrorist attack. This is an exorbitant expense during a budget crisis. It doesn't prevent crime. What's keeping my kids safer? Surveillance cameras or libraries and parks? I think it's probably those. Maybe youth programming events, arts and culture, even public bathrooms, like little toddlers, they gotta go when they gotta go. Did we forget how costly the half A of the day center is humane and makes sense? Please cancel the clock camera funding and invest in the OCYS Department, Libraries, Parks, and Your Good Day Center. Thanks.
Thank you. Natalie Rashke, if you can please unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please proceed.
I'm Natalie. I reside in District 7. And today I was on a Zoom for an LPS subcommittee for the Behavioral Health and Human Services. I heard a disturbing statistic today that I was kind of concerned with. There is 2 suicides a week from the coronary. These cuts and the funding, EBT, and all of these things that are happening, Good Day, people to become more stressed out. I have a child that went to Madison High School. If we cut these programs for art, we're just stressing out more people. People are becoming more homeless, and I don't understand unless there is a driving force behind all of these cuts. What is the end game? What are we looking to expect? What don't we know? Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Wilson, if you can please unmute.
Hi, Pat Wilson, Friends of the San Diego Public Library. Hello from Australia, where I am now. We were relieved to see the specter of permanently closing a branch library was removed in the May revise. And I'd like to thank Council members Foster, Moreno, Ela Rivera, and President Pro Tem Lee for supporting at least a partial restoration of funding to libraries, parks, and the arts in their memos in response to the May revise. It's a start, but not nearly enough. I won't go into all the reasons why underfunding the very things that make our city vibrant and inviting for residents and tourists from around the world is a huge mistake, even in a bad budget year. So many people have told you tonight, much more eloquently than I, the value of libraries, parks, and arts. Pardon, please listen and do the right thing. We can make this work. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next is Patricia Felle, if you can please unmute.
Do we still remember what democracy means? At its most basic level, democracy asks a simple question. Can we govern ourselves while treating all people with dignity, equity, and respect? As our nation approaches its 250th, it appears we have forgotten the first peoples and descendants of this land and the communities who continue to protect its history, culture, and sacred spaces. We have repeatedly asked for the restoration of Parks and Rec in order to protect our National Historic Landmarks and burial grounds at Presidio and beyond. Yet these historic, cultural, and sacred sites continue to suffer from ongoing disinvestments. They are now vulnerable to encampments, fires, vandalism, open drug use surrounding schools, parks, and burial sites. Honor the descendants of early San Diego connected to these lands and restore the public's right to safe parks, arts, culture, recreation, and community stewardship. A democracy that neglects its people to strange spaces.
My apologies. Patty, if you can please unmute.
Patricia Mondragon with Alliance San Diego. We are members of the Community Budget Alliance, the Trust SD Coalition, and the San Diego Immigrant Rights Consortium. I'm calling in tonight from Sacramento because our friends from PANA, CARE, and the Muslim community are observing Eid and healing after the recent shooting at the Islamic Center. As a community, we stand with them and continue the work that is important to them while they heal. Tonight, San Diegans have been clear about what keeps communities safe. Yet this budget continues to prioritize STPD and flock surveillance technology while underfunding the services our communities need. No community members are here asking you to spend public resources on expended surveillance. People are asking you to invest in dignity, community, and infrastructure. We urge you to cut funding for flock and restore the center and stormwater infrastructure. When it comes to floods and climate disasters, San Diegans should not keep paying the price of neglected maintenance. Please adopt a budget that prioritizes people over surveillance technology. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is San Diego County Bicycle Coalition. If you can please unmute.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Ian Hembry, and I am the Advocacy and Community Manager for the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition. Traffic safety is public safety, but this budget doesn't treat it as such. While the mayor boasts that the May revise includes the speed management plan, the revise also keeps the cuts to the multimodal team, who would do a ton of the work of designing traffic calming and traffic safety measures as streets get repaved. Without this team, the speed management plan is not a plan, but a wish. For those of you who have been supporting the multimodal team, we thank you for your courage. For those who still need convincing, the Vision Zero Coalition has proposed 3 ways to fund this team. All have value, but we believe continuing to fund this team through Transnet allows them to continue all aspects of their work that make our city safer and more livable. This can be done at no cost to allocations currently in the budget. Thank you for your time, and thank you, Clerk Fuentes, for your work.
Thank you. Tanya Marino, if you can please unmute. Tanya Marino. Please proceed.
Imagine a place without any public art or music, a place without shared cultural spaces. Imagine Balboa Park without any museum. Instead, we have a city that chooses to invest in surveillance cameras instead the community serves. Does that sound like a vibrant, thriving San Diego? Does that sound like it's the city worth visiting? A place you want to live? The budget cuts for art and culture while maintaining expensive technologies like FLOP. That sends a clear message about what is valued, and it's not San Diego, and it's not San Diegans. Let's choose to invest in our communities. Arts programs are not optional. They create trust, that may create safety. Restore funding for arts, cut certain systems like ALPPR and FLOP. That's investment in people and culture that make San Diego strong. Thank you.
Thank you. Zach, if you can please unmute.
Thank you. I am coming in to ask that the funding for the multimodal team as part of the transportation department be restored. There's a lot of reasons this team adds a lot of value to the city, but my main motivation is just I'd like to be able to walk and bike without being scared in this city, and it's challenging that it requires me to be politically active and to get this to happen. I feel that enabling safe transportation is a core responsibility of the transportation department. And I am confused about how this budget ignores that responsibility. Especially when these active transportation plans and bicycle master plans were created in collaboration with the people of San Diego. There are places in the world where this cut would be unfathomable. I'm not even referencing some far-flung bike utopia. This would be illegal to cut in our neighbor city of Los Angeles. We cannot allow Los Angeles District for this team and help us beat LA.
Our next speaker is Anthony Avalos, and then after that, Via Voices is our final speaker for tonight. Anthony?
Public safety can't mean protecting police budgets while cutting the systems that actually care for San Diegans. Properly caring for us means funding the conditions that prevent harm before police are called. Housing stability, libraries, rec centers, youth programs, public restrooms, trauma-informed services, food access, mental health care, arts and culture, and neighborhood infrastructure. The current budget conversation shows us that public pressure works. Some libraries and rec center cuts have been restored, but partial restoration is not transformation. We need the council to stop asking working class communities to absorb austerity while SDPD remains structurally protected. The mandate is reallocation. Move funding from reactive systems of force into community-based systems of care. Every dollar spent expanding police, surveillance, and enforcement is a dollar not spent stabilizing families, supporting young people, preventing trauma, or repairing neighborhoods. If the city is serious about
Thank
equity,
you for that concluding comment. Via Voices, if you can please unmute.
I'm the Executive Director for Via Voices. I'm not going to repeat a lot of talking points today about what unequitable budgets. The community showed up willingly tonight to tell you all of that. But I want to name something is that the budget process is not equitable at all. Year after year after year after year, we've seen the community come out, fight for the little thing like this. It's a joke that often the youth and child success, asking for less than $1 million, if we can't really get the funding for it. and somebody that asked them about it was hard to find. And for the first time that we've seen the mayor sitting in the chamber, for somebody who could join 95% of the budget funding, and yet he never held a public meeting to hear this, to sit with all of you until tonight. I would say that now is also the time to consider the budget process change. How do we make the process that will include more public involved? At the end of the day, that is what democracy look like. We protest, we do all the things against the federal administration, but at the end of the day, we need to do this better.
That does conclude public comment on today's item. Thank you, Council President.
All right, thank you, City Clerk. Before I turn it over to my colleagues, big round of applause for Deanna and the entire City Clerk's team. Thank you to the Mayor for sticking around for the entire time, and your staff, the chiefs in the front row there, and many, if not all, the department heads. Thank you for sticking around for all the public comment, and to the public, for those who are actually still here at 11:20. In passionate defense of their priorities, and those participated remotely, we certainly appreciate it. It makes it worthwhile to us to hold evening meetings to gain your input. So with that, this is an information item. No motions required. Budget Committee. Councilmember Henry Foster.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Rolando, to you and your team for the presentation. Mayor, thank you for introducing the Levi's in your presentation and for staying with us. Also, would like to thank all staff that stayed with us as well to hear the public comment. I'm going to keep my comments brief. I also just want to say thank you to the public for coming out. It's quite difficult for me to receive these comments. Oftentimes you will hear me talk about the tale of two cities, but I feel in the short time that I've been on this dais, we tend to have the same folks as we go through this budget cycle come before this council with the same message. And quite honestly, I feel as if there's a portion of the city that truly does feel forgotten. So thank you for continuing to come out and to make sure that your voices are part of this process. And I just want you to know, and I'm sure my colleagues will have some comments, but my colleagues hear you as well. And so thank you for continuing to stay engaged and to let us know what your needs are and what's important to you. I guess I'll say this, Mayor, I do want to thank you for the work on the budget thus far. I think you did make some tough decisions, and I just want to thank you specifically for supporting the investment that's indicated in here for our youth. You did take a hard look at the library, Park and Rec. You did prioritize districts 4, 8, and 9, which I am truly appreciative of. And I just want to make sure that I convey that to you and your team, because it has been some challenging conversations to get here. But as you can see, there's to do, more conversations to have as we look at and approach the June honest and say that at the onset of this budget cycle, I did really want to ask the question, what happens if we do not approve a budget? And I can tell you that I have my staff working on a LSR to the city attorney's office to get the full legal analysis as to the answer to that question. But I must say, as I look at what's in front of us today, I do feel better in regards to achieving what we need to achieve on June the 9th. But I think it does rely heavily on, as I always say, my good friend, the IDA, as they are doing their analysis, their work, to see how we can incorporate, I'm going to say the last round of budget memorandums that have been provided. So eager to see what your analysis provides and what paths are potentially in front of us as we continue to have our budget conversation. I do think that we do need to take a serious look at our priorities. And I said this early on, that at the end, we're talking about a $6 billion budget, which for me is the same conversation, and it's the same conversation about priorities. I think that we do need to take a hard look at our policing. Just 2 more minutes, I'll be done here shortly. And one thing that I do want to really make sure and stress to my colleagues, we really do need to look at flock and surveillance. I think one thing that we have learned over the years, especially recently since I've been a part of the legislative body, is that if we invest in community, that truly is a very, very important portion of public safety. And I think it shows in our statistics. And I think it speaks volumes as we look at continuing to be the safest, largest city. So I will leave that there, Council President. I will conclude that there and just say I am looking forward to continuing these conversations as we approach June 9th. And just to reiterate to everyone, because I want to be clear, arts and culture is important to me. I have the San Diego Black Arts and Culture District that is fresh and new. We are always talking with economic development on trying to build out that space. And it is really a critical component for District 4. We'll be looking to my colleagues to roll our sleeves up and to land this plane and hopefully improve on the budget so that we can meet the needs of the residents of the city of San Diego. So thank you, Council President, and that will conclude my comments.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Foster. We'll go next to Councilmember Elo Rivera.
All right, thank you, Council President. Thank you to all of members of the public who provided testimony tonight, who've been engaged in the process. Thank you, Charles, to you and your team. Mayor, thank you for being here tonight and staying with us here. Council President, what I'm actually going to start with is a letter that I was asked to read from a number of Muslim-led organizations, including CARE San Diego, the Muslim Leadership Council, Muslim Student Association at UC San Diego, Pillars of the Community, Partnership for the Advancement of New Americans, and For the People Action. I'm going to read those comments first before I make my own. And again, these are their words, and I'm going to read them exactly as they were written. Statement on behalf of Muslim-led organizations. This week, San Diego faced a vicious terrorist attack by two teenage white supremacists who acted upon the hateful anti-Muslim rhetoric that has become all too common across the United States. The attack against the Islamic Center of San Diego, the largest and most visible gathering space for Muslims in San Diego, has left us devastated. The entire Muslim community and the hundreds of children who went to school there and witnessed the horrific attacks will be dealing with this trauma for a long time. While it is vital for policymakers to hear community testimonies and recommendations, the City Council is holding its meeting at one of the holiest times on the Muslim calendar, because Eid al-Adha is a day that we spend with our families, particularly given the events that transpired last week. Many of us will not be able to join today. As we mourn the loss of Amin Abdullah, Nadir Awad, and Mansour Kaziha, the three humble men who sacrificed their lives for the lives of our children, teachers, and school administrators. We urge you to not use our tragedy as political prop to cut the budgets of much-needed social programs while funneling more money into law enforcement agencies. Do not use our loss to defund community programs to make San Diego safer in order to increase the budget of a deeply flawed police force. This tragedy should be used to re-examine the way that law enforcement keeps us safer, not reward them for their failures, not in our name. Our community has questions about why the police wasted time on ineffective surveillance technology instead of notifying the schools and places of worship in the surrounding area that we were in danger. Simple phone calls could have prevented the horrific murders of Amin, Mansour, and Nadir. Block technology did not protect us, and neither did the police. Police relied on flawed AI technology and ultimately failed to locate the perpetrators. Were it not for our heroes, this tragedy would have been multiplied. Political theatrics and crocodile tears will not keep us safe. We need real efforts to root out the belief that some lives hold less value than others. We demand meaningful changes to condemn and prevent the hatred of two San Diego residents harbored against others in the same city: Muslims, Jews, African Americans, immigrants, and other minority groups. We ask City Council members and all policymakers and elected leaders what will actually protect San Diegans from another attack. You cannot sit silently while Muslims around the world are dehumanized. You cannot be complacent in the mistreatment of Muslims here in the United States. You cannot uplift some targets while ignoring others. All of our lives must be equally valued. This tragedy was an attack on all San Diegans, but it was the Muslim community that will have to explain to our children why Brother Amin and Nadir are not there to greet them when they return to school. Rather than investing more money into a failed punishment bureaucracy, we urge you to support programs that invest in youth, after-school programs, mental health support, early warning systems, and combat anti-Muslim hate. We ask city leadership to invest in real solutions and avoid the same failed policies of the past. Signed, CARE San Diego, Muslim Leadership Council, Muslim Student Association, UC San Diego, Pillars of the Community, Partnership for the Advancement of New Americans, For the People Action. That concludes the remarks that I was asked to read. I will now add some thoughts of my own. I just want to recognize the mourning that's still happening in the community and why it was important for that statement to be read, especially because of the incompatibility with the scheduling of this meeting with the Muslim holiday. I know that the calendar was tight and we had to pivot, but they made it even more important to read that. Last week, I joined Council President Pro Tem Lee, Councilor Foster, and Councilor Moreno on a budget memo that provided real possible funding resources and cuts we are willing to make in order to fund just some of our top priorities, such as arts and culture, fully restoring parks and library hours, small business enhancement program, and the Office of Child Youth Success. I want to recognize some of what we heard here today. And I actually think I'm so appreciative that the American Federation of the Blind had folks here tonight. I think that provided an invaluable perspective of of why the investments that we make are so important. And the ask was so simple, but so important at the same time. Blind San Diegans simply wanting to feel safe so that they can walk to work, society, live full lives. Nothing extravagant in that ask, and just a simple recognition for their needs to be met, to live dignified lives. We heard youth searching for the city to simply function well enough to turn their advocacy into the basics that any community in the city should expect. We heard youth asking that we demonstrate that we care about them enough to prioritize them with an extremely small amount of funding that is dedicated to them knowing that there is someone in this city who is looking out for them. And obviously, the arts and culture community being out here strong and loud once again, because that is so important to our community. There are two parts to this. There's the work that we can do in this budget cycle with the resources that we have, and I will continue to advocate. One, I will express appreciation, Mayor, to you, Department of Finance, and the IBA for being willing to be innovative and modernize the way we use golf revenue. With that innovation, we were able to restore parks and rec centers in districts 4, 8, and 9, and I think we're just scratching the surface of what it means when we really lean into the assets that people from around the world know San Diego for, and leverage those to the benefits of everyday people from across the city. So I'm glad to see that, and I will continue to advocate for us to reallocate funding away from flock and surveillance. If there's one lesson that I think is important to take from the events of last week, is that when it comes to safety at least, there's no amount of dollars spent on enforcement that can equal the safety that comes when people to sacrifice everything to take care of each other. A unthinkable number of lives, especially lives of children, men from the community, love their community enough to put their body on the line. And I will not pretend like there are not emergencies that require emergency response, but people who do that work cannot be everywhere at all times. And trying to do that is a recipe for disaster. It's an impossible task, and it's ultimately still cannot create the safety that comes from people loving each other and taking care of each other. And the investments that young people are asking us to make, the investments the arts and culture community is asking us to make, are both aimed at creating a San Diego where people can express their love for each other, where they can take care of each other. And I wholeheartedly believe that will be not just a safer city, but a city that feels better to live in. And we can be that city. I'll have more to say about the ways that we should be pursuing revenue, because we should not have to live this way, where we are considering whether or not we can fund safe crosswalks for the blind, or services for the youth, or arts and culture programming, as well as a number of other very important things that are on the chopping block. San Diego is too beautiful a place with too good of people for that to be our year-to-year reality. And so I look forward to doing that work with you, Council President, and the rest of our colleagues in our final budget action. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Rivera. We'll go next to Council President Pro Tem Lee.
Thank you, Council President. I know most of the public has departed, but even so, wanted to take the moment to thank them. Many of them who showed up starting at 4:30, even before the hearing, and stayed for much of the evening. I want to thank the mayor and staff as well for bringing us to this point. through the May revision, and to all of you for sticking around and hearing from the public. That means a lot to us and I'm sure to them as well. I do want to acknowledge that this budget is the especially difficult budget that the mayor and our IBA have shared, and that the shortfalls we see in funding are similar to what my colleagues have described. They're everywhere in this budget, and that is very much tied to how the city is underfunded. And so I know we have public comments on that tonight, and I just don't think we can ignore that that is the reality that we are in. But I will note that I believe that this budget, as presented, even with its May revision, does not ultimately achieve the balance that I believe the council, the public, are seeking. And so I am looking forward to taking the next step where this moves from being the proposed budget with the May revision now to the council for its full deliberations in the final weeks, and working with my colleagues to do everything we can to achieve a budget that we can stand by and one that we can ultimately approve. And I do think we will have that opportunity, as Councilor Marie Rivera noted, a number of opportunities that we think we can still seek to achieve the structural changes necessary to achieve the balance that we are seeking. And I appreciate them for the words that they've shared, and look forward to the work that we do the 11 or so days ahead, or 13 days ahead. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Council President Pro Tem Lee. We'll go next to Councilmember Whipper.
Thank you very much, Council President. Thank you to everybody who provided comment on the budget this evening. Thank you to the mayor and the city's leadership team and city staff. Very much looking forward to the Office of the Independent Budget Analyst's report next Tuesday that will compile the budget memoranda that was submitted by each of the council offices and identify areas of shared priorities that will help to inform our final budget. Tonight, the case for restoring arts and culture funding is persuasive, and I look forward to working with my colleagues to continue supporting San Diego's valuable arts and culture community. I don't support cuts to homelessness funding, but I understand the financial environment that we're in, so I am focused on at least preserving programs and services that provide as many people as possible with shelter and housing. And I share some of the other priorities that were brought up by a number of people tonight. The Budget Review Committee meets next Friday in anticipation, as has been mentioned, the council taking up the budget on the night. So I look forward to the conversations in the days ahead. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Whipper. And we'll go next to Councilmember Moreno.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. Thank you to all the staff that is still here with us, and also thank you to the IBA. Thank you also to the members of the community who provided us with their viewpoints throughout this whole process. I know that this process can be very time consuming, but your voice and input matters because they're essential to understanding how the budget and numbers ultimately affect our residents' quality of life. Two departments that affect the quality of life for my residents are libraries and Park and Rec. Libraries are essential community spaces for learning and access to knowledge, providing residents with valuable resources such as computers, Wi-Fi, hotspots, and after-school programming. Park and Rec programs are vital for promoting healthier lifestyles and, most importantly, fostering community connection through recreation and social programming, especially when it doesn't exist. City services create opportunities and provide a safe, welcoming environment for residents in our communities for them to succeed. I am pleased to see that libraries and Park and Rec have regained funding to maintain current service levels in District 8 and other underserved communities. These services are essential to the quality of life for our residents and should not be treated as optional investments. What is frustrating is that every year we find ourselves fighting the same battle over cuts to libraries and park and rec. Year after year, this council has had to step in to preserve these critical community services. Yet the following budget cycle, the same departments are once again placed on the chopping block. This cycle is unsustainable, and there needs to be a better long-term approach to protecting core neighborhood services. Part of this approach is to implement the city auditor's recommendations that could generate additional cost savings for the city. These recommendations have been made even before the severe budget constraints we're facing today. One clear example is the overtime, which has already saved taxpayers dollars annually. If more of these auditor recommendations are implemented, the city could realize millions of additional dollars in savings. I understand these reforms will not happen immediately, but we must always govern as though every single dollar matters. I am very concerned about the continued reduction to stormwater department because my residents understand firsthand the consequences of underfunding this critical infrastructure. This budget was presented as one that prioritized public safety, yet the failure to adequately fund stormwater infrastructure represents a glaring gap in that commitment. The floods of January 2024 demonstrate exactly why stormwater infrastructure must be treated as a core public safety priority. The death by 1,000 cuts approach to the stormwater department jeopardizes the safety and well-being of our residents. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has said that El Nino appears to be taking shape, which may bring heavier than usual rains to the area, and the city needs to make sure we're fully prepared for this storm. In contrast, with all the funding that the Homelessness Strategies and Solution Departments received, my residents still live with the brutal reality of having homeless in front of elementary schools. Over the past few months, my staff has been in constant communication with the principal of Perkins K-8, a school located in Barrio Logan. In one incident, the teachers were not able to open the gate to access the school because of unhoused individuals blockading. The principals and parents have shown me tents, cars, RVs surrounding the school, creating conditions that no child should ever have to see or experience. Students at Perkins cannot walk more than a few feet without being exposed to things children should never have to see: human feces, needles, condoms, public nudity, fights, people passed out on the sidewalk, alcohol consumption, and open drug use. These are the realities for children in Barrio Logan, and they're simply just going to school. That's why it was a complete shock to me when HSSD of $222 million reduction in security services for safety storage operations, which would impact the commercial street safe storage site a few blocks away from Perkins. The property is also near Our Lady School, which is it's right next to it, which is a kindergarten through 8th grade school that has served this community since 1945. The city made a commitment to the students and residents of Logan Heights when it opened the safe storage site in close proximity to this school that security would be in the area 24/7. This commitment must be honored, especially in a community where government has already broken so many promises. It's unacceptable that the city has a homeless strategies and solutions department, yet children in my district have to be subject to these experiences every single day. Neighborhoods in District 8 are often overlooked and forgotten. District 8 residents deserve the same level of safety, urgency, and investment as any other neighborhood in San Diego. So I would urge the mayor and HSSD to pay attention to the needs of my community, and most important, the needs of the children who attend Perkins and Our Lady School. The city cannot continue allowing families and students to attend or live near Perkins to have to suffer in this way. The May revision shows that cuts to arts and culture still remain. I've said this before, this reduction is not a restructuring, it is a dismantling. Arts is a core function in the city of San Diego, a commitment demonstrated with Penny for the Arts. The city has a strong record of success in art. The La Jolla Playhouse have collectively helped bring more than 70 productions to Broadway. So it's frustrating to see the city adopt ambitious cultural equity plans and celebrate the importance of arts and culture, only to dismantle, and eliminate the very resources needed to make these commitments real. We cannot say we value equity, community investment, and cultural preservation while proposing cuts that will have disproportionate impact on the communities that have historically received the least. These programs support neighborhood festivals, local arts organizations, youth programming, public performances, and cultural events that bring our communities together. I'm almost done here. It's my last year. I have a little more to say. Creating economic activity, jobs, and spaces where people feel seen and represented. And the city needs to be honest about who will feel the cuts to arts and culture the hardest. The city has a responsibility to uphold the commitments and plans it established for arts and culture before this cutting starts. And I do not agree that the community should bear the burden of these cuts. While I do acknowledge that the May revise is a step in the right direction, this budget is still far from where I want the budget to be. My residents continue to feel the impacts of underfunding in departments like stormwater, arts and culture, yet despite funding allocation to departments such as HSSD, many residents still do not see meaningful improvement or investments reflected in their communities. And I just want to put for the record that I was one of the council members that voted against the flock contract, and I'm happy to put that back on the chopping block. So as we end, I look forward to working with my colleagues to finalize my last budget in this upcoming few weeks, and to continue my commitment to the residents of District 8. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Moreno. We'll go to Mr. Monaco.
Thanks. At the risk of having us here until midnight, just a few notes. One, obviously my office has its work cut out for us over the next couple of weeks. We will do what we can to identify any and all resources to provide funding for the programs that we've heard about from the public tonight, and that this council has identified as high priorities they want to see restored. So that work is going to happen. I also want to note that the comments that we've heard from the public tonight are meaningful, and it is important for me and the council to hear them. It's also, in my opinion, important that those comments and that advocacy be directed solely at this council. I will note that out of the several hundred public comments that occurred tonight, there was one relatively early on who said the city needs to focus only on the fundamentals that he identified: fund public safety, fund infrastructure, and cut everything else, cut parks, cut libraries, cut arts. He said that welfare is a charity and a luxury. I personally disagree with that very strongly. I believe that every council member up here also disagrees with that. But while that was one person tonight out of several hundred, he also represents a much larger portion of the city's voting population than many here would care to admit. And they, as much as or more than anyone on this council, needs to be convinced of the importance of funding city programs, and ultimately convinced to vote for funding that would allow the city to actually provide its funding, provide its services, and provide its programs on a sustainable and ongoing basis. In the immediate future, though, as you know, Councilmember Foster has more work to do. We will work with you over the next 13 days to get to a budget on the lines.
All right, thank you, Charles. We'll go back to Councilmember Foster.
Yes, and I know it's late, but I just want to make this announcement as I was not here for these, I'm going to say the second half of the BRC meetings, but we do have a special budget review committee meeting scheduled for May 29th, 2026 at 3 p.m., where we have a few outstanding items that were not heard, and they consist of sub-item Q, the Personnel Department, sub-item R, the Commission on Police Practices, and I have on here sub-item S, Additional Department Review. Today, Mayor, I have not received any requests, but I will definitely let you know if anything comes up. But just wanted to make that announcement, Council President, and I will turn it over to you to close us out. All right.
For highlighting that unusual Friday afternoon meeting. We don't want to do too many of those, but when the time calls. I wanted to make sure that I did the thank yous early on, because going forward, given what we had to do last year, funny that one person said, I've never seen this when we've been in financial difficulties. 21 and 22 with a lot of federal dollars coming our way was a little bit easier. Last year was very tough, and then we're doing more. And I know every year that I've been a council member, there's always this talk about the disproportionate size of the police department. If you do the simple math, or you do these dramatic, graphic pieces of art, as we saw earlier, of course, the problem is that the police department budget is too big. The problem is the other department is so grossly underfunded that it makes the police department look oversized. Every department that we have in this city is underfunded, and yet through the very hard work of the 12,000 employees, through the generosity of philanthropy, through the volunteers, we are still a great city, and we still make it all happen. I think that's really the testimony of what makes San Diego so very, very special. On a couple of things that was mentioned, again, as everybody said, I'm grateful for everybody that take the time to turn out and wait very long to even just speak for 1 minute. As an engineer, I'm just excited how many times stormwater was mentioned tonight. I think that's kind of unusual. For those of you who don't remember, my January budget memo had one priority: stormwater. Thank you, Councilmember Moreno, for leaning in on that as well. That's still a very hard conversation for us with the revenue that we have to work with. The other thing that I've kind of noticed in my district, and maybe my colleagues have, I don't think we've given enough credit to Misty and Libraries and Andy and Rec Center and then Panda, that when we talked about cutting hours, we didn't really explain what that meant. And I know I had enough briefings that those hours are very strategic hours. They're not arbitrary cuts in hours, but actually understanding how our libraries are being used and how our rec center hours. That may not soften the blow for those people who want more hours in both those cases, but those are very strategic. I'm going to have a conversation with my constituents in La Jolla that are not happy. They're 60, but those are very strategic hours that will be identified for that. And that is a good segue to the generosity that we have across our city. Right now, Fire Station 16 in La Jolla is being remodeled through private dollars. Last Friday, we opened up a new playground at Fenwell Street Park through private dollars and donated labor to actually install it. And as we heard, La Jolla may backfill some hours at the La Jolla Library, may be interested in backfilling some hours at the Rec Center. So I look forward to those conversations. Arts obviously was the big topic today. I was at La Jolla Playhouse Friday night. I certainly encourage you to go see that play. It's pretty amazing. My wife is pretty active in going to art museums there, so we certainly enjoy them. How much we can fund How we position the funding this cycle remains to be seen. I know some of my colleagues are digging in. I appreciate doing some of the hard. Thank Councilmember Whitburn. Solving and making the dark cloud of a ballot measure go away. So at least we have certainty. It will cost us $3.5 million, but in light of what we had to cancel during last week's tragedy. With that, thank you to City 24. I know the lights are still on there. Thank you to the detail for keeping. With that, thank you to City 24. I know the lights are still on there. Thank you to the detail for keeping us all safe here in Chambers. And with that, I will now adjourn council to the next regularly scheduled council meeting on Monday, June 8th, 2026.
Yeah, it's smart.
All right, you guys have a wonderful evening. Stay classy, San Diego. It's never a dull